A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
And now, the Goldbergs. Although Molly permitted the owner of her house to stay at the Goldbergs until the family got out, Mr. Way didn't show his gratitude and give the Goldbergs a little longer time to find a place in the village. There's something very bitter and coarse about Mr. Way, as if his years in prison had only inflamed what was bad in him and made it worse. Yesterday, he shouted at little David and half frightened him to death. But Dr. Cater let Mr. Way know what he thought of him, and altogether it was a very unpleasant and quarrelsome scene. Yet some of the Goldbergs are quite happy about the whole thing. Listen.
Well, it was a good thing I wasn't home when it happened. That's all I'm saying.
Take a card, Jack. If you was home, so what would you have done?
Dr. Cater told him plenty, Pa.
Mr. Ray was trying to rest, so what?
This is not a convalescent home.
Take a card.
Only proves how mean he is.
Anybody that could yell at a child.
All right, please. We're playing cards, so please. So let us play. You play Sammy, too.
I thought we were going to wait for David's mother.
She'll be in a second. She's outside taking in a suit from the line. She wants to press it for David. She didn't want me to do it. David, darling, what are you eating?
Qu'est-ce que tu manges, David?
Un bonbon. A bonbon? Qu'est-ce que bonbon? Sit here, darling.
Dr. Cater gave him good, huh, David?
Mon père parle de Monsieur Way, David.
Maman dit que c'est ma faute.
What? His mother says it was all his fault.
Play, Jack.
He wasn't nervous when he cheated people out of their lifelong savings, was he, huh?
Your play, please.
He wasn't nervous when I asked him if he could stay in this house a little longer, was he, when he answered no?
Rummage.
When I want to be sorry for people, I'll make my own selections.
Tasha.
You, dear. Where did he went, the pillar and post of society, the cream of the land?
For a walk, he went. And who do I Tasha first? Here, pick up your card. Here, all right. Pick up your card. Here, you play family.
All right.
Rosalie, you play. All right.
Only you, Molly. Nobody else. Only you would offer him shelter. Nobody else.
Jake, please, I'm not discussing. I'm playing.
I'm discussing.
All right, Pa.
It's not all right to holler at a child.
You don't want to play, Jake?
No, I don't want to play. Here's the card.
Thank you. I'll make tea.
Not for me.
Coffee.
When I'll ask for it.
Are you asking?
I'm not asking.
So I'm making.
Make, but not for me.
Then I'll make for me.
It's a good thing I wasn't home. That's all I'm saying. It's a good thing, David. A very good thing.
Qu'est-ce que dit votre père, Rosie? Il dit que c'est bien qu'il n'était pas à la maison quand Monsieur Way a grondé.
I should be home when anybody says anything to you, David. That's all.
Well, you should have heard Dr. Cater, Pa. He told him everything that had to be said.
I could have told him, too, without psychology.
It's Mr. Way, Pa. David.
Mama! Mama! Mama!
Come in, Mr. Way.
Give me my card, please. I'm playing in the other room, Sammy, if you want to play.
Please sit down, Mr. Way.
Give me the other deck, Rosie.
Here.
I'll be inside.
Could you excuse me, please? I'll tell my mother that you're here.
You too, huh? You also, huh? What you think? Oh, Rosalie. You too, huh? You too, huh? You walked out one by one and you left Mr. Way sitting alone, huh?
Don't lecture me with lectures, Molly. I'm not a knee-pence, and neither am I a rumpus. When it comes to dealing with people like Mr. Way, I am the one that can give instructions, not you.
Where are you going, Sammy?
Out.
Come here, please, before you go out.
Ma, please.
Sammy, go inside and ask Mr. Way if he wants a cup of coffee.
I won't do that, Mom.
Why not?
Because I don't care whether he wants a cup of coffee or not.
Oh. You don't care. So go out, Sammy. What are you waiting?
Ma.
I said go out. Ma, I don't see how you can be so sympathetic. We can't, and I don't see how you can. No, you can't. Well, maybe you're better than we are, but maybe I'm better. Maybe I'm better because I'm afraid for you and Sammy, and that makes me better than I am. All your life I won't be with you, and who knows what the world will do to you. But it will make you, where it will push you, into what mistakes and what misfortune. Maybe that's why I'm sympathetic. Now, do you understand? Taking a bowl of fruit, Mr. Ray. This minute. All right. You hear that? All right. Ask him if he wants an apple. All right, Mom. He wants an olive. Here, Mr. Way. Here's some fruit.
I didn't ask for fruit.
Excuse me, please.
It's no use. It's my fault. I forced them out of the room, even though I wanted them to stay. I tried to make them stay, wishing they wouldn't go. But I forced them to go because of the things I say and the things I do and the way I look. It's no use. I don't know what happened. I thought I'd be free. Free after 3 years. But they were more than 3 years. Lifetime. It was a lifetime. And in a lifetime, a person dies and disappears. That's what's happened. 3 years, a lifetime. And I died. And someone was born. And he was freed. And he's here. And it's not the one I want to be. He took his prison with him. And these people hate that prisoner and despise him because he hates them and despises them. What am I now? Not myself. Not anything. But a man made of the silence, the solitude, the hardness, the walls of prison. A man unfit for the talk of people, their lives and feelings.
Come, I want you. Mr. Ray, the child has something to say to you. Go, David.
Je vous demande pardon, monsieur, d'avoir fait tant de bruit pendant que vous vouliez dormir.
That means, Mr. Ray, that he stopped the 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 Ray, that he's sorry.
Tu devrais avoir tes regrets. Je te demandais 3 fois de ne pas faire tant de bruit.
Je ne voulais pas.
Tu savais bien que je voulais dormir.
Je vous demande pardon, monsieur.
Ta mère n'a-t-elle pas instruit d'être polie? Ah!
Oh, David. Oh, man. Pardon.
Well, once again, Mr. Way speaks in the voice that he'd like to forget and not have. His past speaking for him against his hopes. And as David cries and Molly listens to the tones, not understanding the words, she wonders what kind of a man Way really is.
In just a moment, X-1. But first, some of the funniest situations you've ever witnessed occur every Wednesday night when the devilish imagination of MC Jack Bailey gets to work on NBC's Truth or Consequences. You won't believe it until you hear it, so listen in tomorrow. Then another laugh session is in store later on with the wise and witty Groucho Marx as he and contestants play You Bet Your Life, while the melodic note in your Wednesday evening schedule is music and fun on Airtime with Giselle McKenzie.
Countdown for blast off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come transcribed tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million could-be years on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents
X minus 1.
Tonight, the Mark Clifton story, Star Bright.
Well, it's finally happened. I've known it would for a long time now. That's why I'm writing this, in the hopes that you'll understand and not think me mad. Whatever the outcome, I hope you will not judge me too harshly for what I've done or failed to do.
Mr. Holmes. Mr. Holmes.
Come in. Oh, hello, Chief.
I just wanted to let you know, sir, that we're doing everything we can to find the children.
Yes, I'm sure you are.
We've got 300 men out combing the woods for them. The Army base has volunteered another 100 men, and we've sent an all-points bulletin to every police unit in the country.
Fine.
I just wanted to check and make certain our description is accurate. Your little girl, Star, was wearing a blue dress and white sandals. Is that right?
That's right.
And she is how old?
6 years old.
And the little Howell boy, how old was he?
7, I believe, yes. 7.
Uh-huh, thank you. Well, I'll be in touch with you.
Oh, that's very good of you, Chief. Oh, by the way,
yes.
Mr. and Mrs. Howell, how are they taking it?
Well, they're pretty upset, naturally. Mr. Howell, he's out with the men searching.
Yes, I know.
And Mrs. Howell's in the car outside.
Ruth is outside? Why didn't she come in?
Well, she said she'd rather not.
Oh, I see.
Do you, Pete?
Well, Mrs. Howell, I thought...
I decided to come in. I'm not going to sit on my feelings any longer.
Now, Mrs. Howell...
No, I have to say this. Pete, Bill and I have been your neighbors for almost a year now. Our children have been almost inseparable.
I know that.
Then how can you just sit here writing letters when they may be lost somewhere or in trouble? Why aren't you out with Bill and the rest of them searching?
I can't. Ruth, I know how you feel. Please try to understand. I intend to help find Bobby and Star, but I must do this first.
Why? What's so important about
Ruth,
it?
I'm sorry.
Sorry? Then why don't you act like a man? You're inhuman.
Please.
I don't ever want to see you or speak to you again. Ever.
Perhaps you won't.
What was that, Mr. Holmes?
Nothing. Chief, if you don't mind, I'd like to be alone for a moment.
Okay, Mr. Holmes. I'll keep in touch.
How can I tell them? How can I make them understand? I write this to you because they must be made to understand somehow, but I have to begin at the beginning. I think I first noticed it one evening when Star was 3 years old. I was in my reading chair going over some work. Star was sitting on the floor in the circle of light with her blunt-nosed scissors and scraps of paper. Her long silence made me glance down.
And then we glue this together, put a line here and there.
Star?
Like that.
Star?
What is it, Daddy?
Can I see what you've made?
Uh-huh.
Well. It's quite a coincidence.
What?
You know what they call a piece of paper joined together with a half-twist like this?
Nope.
It's called a Mobius strip.
You mean somebody already made one?
A man named Mobius, mathematician, long time ago.
Did he know you can put a line on it like that so it has one side all joined?
Yes, he did. Someday I'll tell you what it means.
Now do it.
What?
Tell me about a Mobius strip.
Very complicated.
Then read me about it.
Oh, you wouldn't understand, honey.
Read me anyway.
Okay, young lady. But I warn you, it'll be like one of those nonsense rhymes. At least, I hope it will. At 3 years, a child shouldn't have enough functioning intelligence to put together a Mobius strip. I had known for some time now that Star was an exceptionally bright child. Just how bright, I had no idea. Not until I began to read to her from an advanced physics book, The Theory of the Mobius Strip. To the power of infinity. Now then, are you sufficiently mixed up, young lady?
Daddy, you know what?
What?
You read too slow. You say a word, then I think a long time, then you say another word.
Oh, I see. Just, what would you have me do about it?
Well, teach me to read. Then I can think as quick as I want.
The word is quickly. It's an adverb.
Oh, Daddy, really? You pick on such unimportant things. I want to learn to read.
Okay. When would you like to begin?
Right now, tonight.
Before she went to bed that evening, my daughter was able to read. In the months that followed, a great deal happened. Some of our friends, like Jim Petrie, have dropped in and been amused to see her on the floor, rapidly turning the pages of an encyclopedia as big as she is. Sit down, Jim.
Oh, thanks.
Star, aren't you going to say hello to Uncle Jim?
Hello.
Huh? I see she's taken to looking at the pictures in the encyclopedia, huh?
Oh, yeah, yes. Come on in the library, Jim. I'd like to talk to you privately.
Yeah, sure thing.
Bring your drink, huh?
Okay.
I'll shut the door here.
Why all the secrecy?
Sit down.
Hmm?
Now, Jim, we've been friends, you and I, ever since engineering school.
So?
Neither of us have ever mentioned it, but one of the reasons we were drawn together is because both of us have IQ somewhere up in the genius ratings.
Oh, I think it was more than that.
Well, that played a part. It isn't easy to be exceptional in a world which regards mediocrity as the only behavior above suspicion.
Well, we all have to live with our afflictions. Yours and mine is a quick mind in a dull environment.
What would you do, Jim, if you were a parent, as I am, whose wife had died, as Eleanor did, and you discovered that your only child was, well, afflicted with a fantastically brilliant mind?
Star? Oh, come on, Pete. Any little girl who's content just to look at the pictures in the encyclopedia.
Jim.
I mean, after
Jim,
all. What?
She wasn't looking at the pictures.
Huh?
She was reading the pages.
What? But she was turning them as fast as humanly possible.
She was reading them.
What?
I know. I've tested her. She not only remembers everything, she understands the concepts. She even gets impatient with them.
Well, have you measured them?
Well, I've given her IQ tests, aptitude tests, reaction tables, all the paraphernalia for measuring something we know nothing about.
And?
Tests don't work.
How do you mean?
Well, either the tables are screwy or Star's beyond all measurement.
Pete, are you sure you're not projecting this? I mean, isn't it possible that a few accidental...
Daddy.
Yes, honey.
I got lonely.
Okay, come on in.
Uncle Jim, would you read me a story?
Why don't you read your own story?
Because I'm only 3, and 3-year-olds can't read.
And so she had found the answer to her affliction by herself. Conformity. She had already learned to conceal her intelligence. So many of us break our hearts before we learn that. When Star was 4 years old, according to state law, her mind had developed enough so she could attend nursery school.
Hi, Daddy.
Hi, honey. Did you, like nursery school?
Oh, yes, it was fun.
What'd you learn today?
Not much. I tried to cut out paper dolls, but the scissors kept slipping.
Now, look, Star, don't overdo it. That's as bad as being too quick. The idea is that everybody has to be just about standard average. That's the only thing people will tolerate. It's expected that a little girl of 4 should know how to cut out paper dolls properly.
Oh. I guess that's the hard part, isn't it, Daddy? To know how much you ought to know.
Yeah. That's the part I always found hard when I was young.
It's really all right. I let one little girl show me how to cut them out, so now she likes me. She just took charge of me and told the other kids they should like me, too. So they did, because she's the leader, even if she is one of the stupids.
What?
The stupids. That's the trouble with you, Daddy. You don't grasp things right away. That's because you're only a tween.
A tween? I assume that means an in-between?
That's right. You're in between a stupid and a bright.
And you're a bright?
Yes. I made those names up when I was very little.
How little?
Oh, about 6 months old.
The thoughts began to whirl around in my head after that one. A small fear kept growing inside me. How profound was this little imp that was staring up at me? How much did she understand already? Even as the thought formed, I learned the final horrifying fact about my little girl.
It's all right, Daddy. Don't be afraid of me.
Well, how did you know that I was thinking anything like that?
Well, I just figured it out.
Star.
Yes, Daddy?
Now, I want you to answer me honestly when I ask you this next question, will you?
Yes.
Star. Can you read people's minds? Are you a telepath? Well?
Yes, Daddy.
I thought so. You read my mind just now, didn't you?
Yes.
Now, I'd like to know something else.
All right.
Can you teach me to do it?
You're already learning it, Daddy. The trouble is you're so slow you didn't even know you were learning.
Oh, I see.
Daddy?
Yeah?
You know what I wish?
What do you wish?
Well, nothing.
All the same, I knew exactly what she was wishing. She was wishing for a companion whose mind would match her own. You see, I was becoming telepathic. Just a minute. Well, hello.
Is your little girl home?
Yeah, she's upstairs. Who are you?
I'm Robert.
Robert who?
Robert Howell. My mother and father moved next door yesterday.
Oh, well, come in, Robert.
I'd like to play with your little girl.
How'd you know I had a little girl?
Oh, I just know.
Oh, I see. And how old are you?
I'm 6.
Well, I'll ask Star to come downstairs. I'm sure she'll be glad to see you.
Yes, she will.
Tell me, Robert, are you a tween or a bride?
Oh, I'm a... What did you say, Mr. Holmes?
Nothing. I didn't have to say it. I could read his thought. He was a bride, and it was no accident that he and his parents had moved next door. Somehow, Star had managed to make contact with him, and they had arranged the whole thing. A father is prepared to lose his daughter eventually, but not so soon, not so terribly soon. Coming. Oh, hello, Ruth. Something wrong?
Well, I was just looking for Bobby. I thought he was over here playing with Star.
Well, I thought they were over at your place.
I don't understand it.
I've noticed that they've been disappearing for a couple of hours almost every afternoon.
Well, I suppose they'll turn up again. They know better than to cross the street by themselves. They're too little for that. If they come here first, tell them to come over and have some milk and cookies.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Oh, by the way, this must belong to your Star.
Oh, what's that?
Oh, some sort of coin or medal or something. I found it out in the backyard after Star and Bobby were playing. It looks brand new.
Let's have a look.
Oh, is something wrong?
Did you say you found this in your backyard?
Yes. What is it?
I don't know.
Well, I've got to get back. Bill will be getting home for dinner soon, so see you later.
Yes.
Hello?
Jim?
Yes.
Do you have a portable spectrophotometer?
Well, sure. We've got a dozen here at the lab.
Pack one up and get over here right away, will you?
Well, Pete, I don't quit till 5.
Look, do as I say, huh? It's important.
Well, okay.
Well? Let me check the amount of radioactivity again.
You've checked it 4 times.
That's about it.
Okay. What's your opinion of this coin?
Well, first of all, let me say this. It's the real McCoy.
And?
Also, it doesn't exist.
Makes sense.
Look, Pete, that coin is pre-Egyptian. It's hand-cast. It's made out of one of the oldest bronze alloys, one that was lost 4,000 years ago.
So it's 4,000 years old.
It is, and it isn't.
What do you mean?
Listen, Pete, old coins show wear. The edges get rounded with handling. The surface oxidizes. The molecular structure changes, crystallizes. Pete, this coin is authentic, and yet it's brand new. It might have been struck off yesterday.
You realize, of course, that that's impossible.
Where'd you get it, Pete?
I don't know. I think the kid's got it.
Star?
Yes.
How?
I don't know. I'm almost afraid to think.
Well, why not ask her?
She isn't around. She and Robert are off playing somewhere.
Well, do you know where?
No, Oh, Jim, it's just too fantastic. It isn't possible.
I haven't said a word.
I know what you're thinking.
As a matter of fact, I was thinking something fantastic. How did you guess?
I just guessed. Jim, let's find those kids right now.
Okay.
Star. Robert. Let's try the playroom. Star. Robert. Not in here. Let's try back here.
I hear something.
What?
Pete, it's coming from the room we were just in.
That's impossible. There's no place they could have hidden.
I'm going to open that door.
Peekaboo, Uncle Jim.
There they were, in the middle of the playroom, holding hands, a little shamefaced, a little defiant. Star. Robert, where have you been? Now, I know you weren't in this room a few seconds ago, and there are no windows you could get through. Well?
It's nothing, Daddy. We just went a little way.
That is not answering me. Where did you go?
You see, Star, we've found this coin.
Come on.
I shouldn't have to tell. You're both just tweens.
Star, I'm still your daddy. Even Brights have feelings about their parents. Now.
I tried to ESP you, Daddy.
Does she mean extrasensory perception?
Yes.
You just don't ESP good, Daddy. Robert does it very nicely. He can always find me when I hide.
That's 'cause you don't have much imagination.
I do, too.
Yeah, but you always have to look at a book to ESP what's in it so you leave an ESP smudge. I just look at where you left the smudge, and I go to that place, and that time, and there you are.
Oh, but that's cheating.
It isn't. You just haven't got imagination. You can't teleport yourself to a place that hasn't been.
I can, too. What about the moon people? They haven't been yet.
Oh, Star, they have, too. Not for your daddy, they haven't, but for the things from Arcturus. The moon people were about 10 million light years ago.
Now, wait a minute, kids. Hold on. Jim, have you been listening to this?
I think I heard it.
Now, look, kids. You're either playing a big joke on us older folks, or you've actually figured out a way to travel to places in the past. Right?
And in the future, too, Daddy.
Star, could you tell us how you do it?
It would be easier if I could ESP it to you.
Well, just pretend we're stupids and tell us in words.
Well, you remember the Mobius strip?
I remember. She made it about a year ago, Jim.
Well, you join the ends of a strip of paper with a half twist to make one surface. Then you take a sheet and give it a half twist so you can join the edges together all over.
That's Klein's bottle.
Oh, you know about that.
Yes, we know that. Go on.
Well, then you take a cube. You imagine a cube, and you twist it.
Tesseract?
Shh. Go on, Star.
And you ESP the twisted cube all together the same way you did Klein's bottle. Now, if you do that big enough, all around you, so you sort of fold it into it, you can teleport yourself any place you want to go. And that's all there is to it.
Jim, what do you think?
I need another drink, Pete. A big one.
That's all there was to it. The line, the plane, the cube, those were Euclidean physics. The Mobius strip, the Klein bottle, the twisted cube, those were Einsteinian physics. Well, I was pretty advanced in both, but I'd have to do some heavy thinking to really grasp it. Meanwhile, the two little kids stood there staring at us.
Star, Robert, can you tell us some of the places you've been?
All over, Uncle Jim. The Romans and the Egyptians and places like that.
Is that how you got the coin?
I found it. It wasn't stealing, was it, Daddy? I just found it in the dirt.
We'll skip that for a minute. What about going to the future?
There isn't any future, Mr. Holmes.
What's that?
It's kind of hard to explain. Even Star doesn't get it.
Oh.
Well, when she gets to be 6, like I am, she'll probably understand.
Well, try to explain it to me.
Well, it's all connected, just like the Mobius strip. If you go far enough, you'll get back to where it starts again. You start with the cavemen, then us men, then atomic men, the moon men, planet men, star men, and Brights. Only somehow...
What?
The Brights got off the strip. We haven't been able to find them any place in time.
I'd sure like to know how they got off and where they are.
Now, look, kids, this kind of thing can be dangerous. You might be eaten by a dinosaur or something.
Oh, we just ESP ourselves right out of there.
Well, anyway, I don't want you leaving this part of the time strip. Not again.
Daddy.
Now, I may be just a tween, but I'm your father.
I always mind you, Daddy.
Yeah? What about going off the block?
But, Daddy, we didn't cross a single street.
Nevertheless...
Pete, think of what you're doing. Pictures, specimens, recordings, not only from the past, but from the future. Pete, I beg you.
Jim, this is my daughter.
But what a contribution. We could be ages ahead of ourselves.
No. Star. Robert, I'd like your promise you won't leave present time again. Well?
Okay.
All right. Now run along. Robert's mother has some cookies and milk for you.
Okay. See you later, Daddy. See you there. Back with the movie.
Jim, I'm sorry.
Well, I suppose if I had a daughter...
Are you going to report this?
And have everybody give me the horse laugh? I may be just a tween, Pete, but I'm not an utter fool.
It took me almost 6 months to do it. I don't know how many times I visualized a cube and ESP'd it a half twist and tried to seal the edges around me. And then once there was a flash, just for an instant. I was concentrating on Caesar's triumphant march into Rome. And for the briefest instant, there it was. I was standing on a roadway watching, and then it vanished. Hey.
Hi, Daddy.
What are you two characters plotting?
Nothing, Daddy.
Well, I'm going to my study for a while. Star?
Yes, Daddy?
You remember your promise about not leaving present time, don't you?
Yes, Daddy.
You going to keep it?
Yes, Daddy.
Okay. I'm holding you to it. Hello?
Hello, Pete. This is Ruth Howell.
Yeah?
Are the kids there?
No?
When did you see them last?
What time is it? Oh, about 10 this morning, 6 or 7 hours ago. Why?
Oh, Pete, I'm worried.
What's up?
Well, they were upstairs in Bobby's room. I was in the living room. Now, I could swear they didn't come downstairs, and yet, when I went up there, they were gone. That was over 5 hours ago.
Ruth, are you sure they didn't come down?
I was in that living room every moment. Pete,
Now, Ruth, don't get panicky. I'm coming right over. Just don't get panicky. There wasn't a trace of them. Well, that isn't exactly true. Remember what Robert had said about Star leaving an ESP smudge? Well, I was able to catch it in Robert's room. It had something to do with where the Brights went when they got off the time strip. That's it, of course. They wouldn't disobey by leaving present time. But isn't it possible that there is more than one present time? Isn't it possible that another now coexists with ours? That's the clue, of course.
I'm going to call the police, Pete.
I don't think it'll do any good.
But we've got to find them. They'd have come back by now.
Yes, if they could.
What do you mean?
Nothing.
Well, what are you going to do?
I'm going back to my study to think.
To think? Aren't you going to look for them?
I have to figure out where to look.
Well, I'm not going to sit around doing nothing. I'm calling the police.
That was this morning. I've been doing some desperate concentrating since then, Jim. I'm writing this down so you'll know. I've already managed to go back to the time of Cheops and ahead to the time when men were navigating to distant planets in a matter of days. But the big job remains. How to get into a dimension parallel with our own at the same time. I figured out that to get the equivalent of a Mobius strip with depth, you must use the supercube, the tesseract. That's what I'm working on at the moment. If I succeed, there is a possibility I may not be able to get back. I hope you will be able to make Bill and Ruth Howell understand. Okay, now if I take 6 cubes and fold them in one another so that every angle is a right angle. Yes, all right, I've got that. And now if in folding, I ESP the tesseract, a half twist around myself.
Mr. Holmes? Mr. Holmes, are you in there? Mr. Holmes? We'll have to break in. It's locked from the inside. Mr. Holmes.
Pete! Pete, where are you? Pete!
That's funny. The door was locked from the inside, but here's his fountain pen with the ink still wet. But he's gone.
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, which this month features the final installment of Frederick Pohl's novel, Slave Ship, story of a world engaged in the wildest of all possible non-wars, where the order of the day was even wilder still. Spare every animal and throw the men to the wolves. Galaxy Magazine, on your newsstand today. Tonight, by transcription, X-1 has brought you Satr Bright, a story from the pages of Galaxy written by Mark Clifton and adapted for radio by George Lefferts. Featured in the cast were Sarah Fussell, Lawson Zerby, Bill Quinn, Billy Harris, Ralph Bell, and Kate Wilkinson. Your announcer, Fred Collins. X-1 was directed by Daniel Sutter and is an NBC Radio Network production.
In just a moment, X-1. But first, after a hard day's work, there's nothing more welcome than an evening of variety entertainment. And that's just the tonic provided tomorrow night by NBC Radio. You'll laugh your cares away when good-natured contestants carry out the rib-tickling stunts dreamed up by MC Jack Bailey on NBC's Truth or Consequences. And later on, Groucho Marx peps things up with lots of spontaneous good fun and more of the friendly insults at which he's so accomplished. For a brighter, livelier evening tomorrow night, it's Groucho Marx and Truth or Consequences on this station. And now, stay tuned for X-1 on NBC.
Have a nice trip. Your seat number is 15. Next, please.
Countdown for blast off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come transcribed tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million, could be years, on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents
X-1.
Tonight's story, Jaywalker, by Ross Rocklin.
Intergalactic flight number 14 now loading at ramp 10. Intergalactic flight number 14 now loading at ramp 10. Please have your flight validation.
You walk from the waiting room down the long ramp number 10. The flight pack is in one hand, the validation papers in the other. Other passengers chatter behind you. You turn a corner, and there's the ship. A cylinder of glistening silver aimed at the moon. You feel yourself carried up the moving stair to the gaping entrance lock. A pretty stewardess in a blue uniform smiles at you.
Validation papers, please? Your papers, madam.
Oh, papers? Oh, yes, here they are.
Mm-hmm. Mrs. Marcia Foster. You feeling well, Miss Foster?
Yes, quite well, thank you.
We have to make sure. Once in a while, somebody slips aboard with another person's validation papers.
What difference would it make if I felt well or not?
Great deal, I'm afraid. You see, the effect of a free fall in space without gravity can do quite a bit of damage in certain glandular conditions. I see you've passed your physical.
Yes, I'm quite all right.
Fine. Have a nice trip. Your seat number is 15. Next, please.
You walk down the carpeted aisle to the plastic-on seat. Her words make a ringing pattern in your brain. Are you feeling well, Mrs. Foster? Mrs. Foster's feeling quite well, thank you. Mrs. Foster has passed her physical examination. There's only one thing wrong with the picture. You are not Mrs. Foster.
Attention, please. Attention. In 1 minute, the flash walls will be raised around the ship. If for any reason a passenger is not feeling well or does not wish to make the trip, please speak up.
1 minute. You begin to wonder if you ought to go after all. You begin to think of how it happened. Why you're here sitting in this silver vessel waiting to blast off for the moon. What happened between you and Jack? What happened?
Honey, I'm back.
Jack, oh, darling.
Oh, you miss me?
Did I miss you? Oh.
I brought you a little present from the moon.
What is it?
Open it and see.
All right, I will.
Try it on.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Took us 2 hours to pick it out.
Us?
Oh, me and Sue. Sue Egan.
Well, who's she?
Well, the stewardess on the ship.
Oh? Well, how long has she been on the Earth-Moon run?
Oh, I guess it's about a year now.
Funny you never mentioned her.
Oh, haven't I? Well, what's the difference?
It just seems odd.
Hey.
What?
Well, you're not jealous, are you?
Is she pretty?
Oh, monstrous. 4 feet high and 3 feet around. And she has a big blue eye right in the middle of her forehead.
Oh, you're insane.
Come on, how about a kiss?
No.
Oh, lady, I've been away for 4 months.
Sorry.
I guess I'll just have to go back to Sue Egan and her 3 blue eyes.
Oh, in that case. Here.
Oh. I have been away a long time.
Jack, I want to talk to you about that.
Okay. But could it wait till tonight? I am taking you to dinner, Mrs. McLean.
I'd rather talk about it now.
Okay.
Jack, we've been married for 6 years now.
Is it that long?
7 in July. For the last 2, you've been skippering that rocket to the moon.
I know.
3 weeks at a time, with only a week in between.
Well, I do get a month vacation
Jack,
besides.
that is no kind of life.
Oh, Marcia, I don't know what I can do about it.
You haven't tried to do anything about it.
I guess you're right.
Do you intend to try?
Marcia...
But I need to know.
Marcia, flying is my whole life.
But it isn't mine. I'm not going to spend 3 weeks out of 4 sitting here wondering if you'll come back alive.
Oh, now that's ridiculous.
Is it? What about my father who died on the Elsinore when it missed Mars?
Your father died as the result of a space maneuver that no pilot in his right mind would try.
They missed the planet. That could happen to anybody.
They missed it because they tried to warp the ship around.
I'm afraid I don't understand.
Well, it isn't very hard to understand. A spaceship takes off with everything calculated to the last decimal point. It has exactly enough fuel to take it to a planet if it follows an exact course, an ironclad mathematical orbit.
Well?
Well, there was a jaywalker aboard the Elsinore.
A jaywalker?
Oh, that's what we call somebody who boards a ship knowing that he has no business doing so. In this particular case, it was a senator going to a convention on the moon. He had been taking endocrine treatments and kept it secret on his validation papers. He felt he had to attend this convention to muster some votes for his campaign. He didn't consider that he was jeopardizing his life.
Well, I still don't see how they missed the planet.
6 hours out, the senator began to die. The effect of the free fall on his glands was catching up with him. And the only way to reverse that effect is to reverse the spin of the ship. Turn it end over end. That creates artificial gravity, reverses the stress on the glands. The pilot took a chance. He did just that.
Is that why they missed the planet?
They lost their trajectory. By the time they recalculated their course, they'd passed Mars. They ran out of fuel and kept going until they fell into the gravity of the sun.
And that couldn't happen today?
A pilot would have to be out of his mind to try a maneuver like that.
You wouldn't try it.
Risk an entire ship to save the life of one fool?
You wouldn't?
Marcia, I can't say I definitely wouldn't. Right now, it's inconceivable.
Just as inconceivable for you to give up space flight for my sake.
Isn't it equally inconceivable for you to put up with it for my sake?
I've put up with it for 2 years. Jack, this is the end of it.
Now, what exactly do you mean by that?
I mean you have to decide whether you want a marriage and a family or a career as a space jockey.
Well, why do I have to decide? Why can't I have both?
Because I won't live this way. Nobody else does except a handful of wives whose husbands are crazy enough to have picked a profession like this.
Well, you knew this was my profession when you married me.
I didn't know it was like this.
Marcia, what you're asking me to do, I simply can't do. Wouldn't make you happy if I did. I'd just be walking around resenting you. Now, come on. Let's have dinner and forget this for a while.
No. We're not having dinner.
You'd rather stay home tonight?
No. I'm going to Los Angeles to my mother's house.
What?
I have tickets on the 6:00 flight.
Tonight?
Yes. Jack, I'm quite determined. I've made up my mind that I'd put it to you squarely, and if you refused, I was leaving.
Just like that?
Yes. I've had all I can take.
Marsh, for heaven's sake, can't we talk this over and make some kind of a compromise?
There is no compromise, Jack. It's all very exciting for you, tearing back and forth to the moon with glamorous stewardesses and all sorts of celebrities, but sitting here waiting isn't much fun for me.
Well, you could get a job, you could develop some interest.
That isn't why I married you. I want a home and a family and a man who comes home every night and talks to me about little, unimportant things.
And I'm not that man.
No. No, you're not.
Okay.
What are you doing?
I don't like people walking out on me, so I'm leaving first.
Would you mind telling me where you'll be?
I don't know. You can reach me through Intergalactic if you change your mind. Marcia, maybe we'll both be better off. We didn't have much of a home life anyway, just the two of us. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean that. I know how you feel about not having children. Goodbye, Marsh.
There it was. You learned when you came back from Los Angeles 2 months later that he'd been seen in the company of one Susan Egan, stewardess for Intergalactic on numerous occasions. You learned, too, that he'd applied for the Earth-Venus run, the newest and most difficult run in the galaxy. And you learned something else, something that was going to change the whole course of your life.
Come in, Mrs. McLean. Sit down.
Thank you, Doctor.
I have some good news for you.
Yes?
You're going to have a child. Well, I thought you'd be happy about that.
Happy? Oh, yes. Yes, I am. Naturally. You debated for a long time, and then you called the Intergalactic office. Mr. McLean was out on the Earth-Moon run. He'd be back on the 12th, but only for an afternoon. He was taking off again immediately. They were so sorry. You were sorry yourself. It seemed as if life would not be worth living without Jack, especially now with a child on the way. You had to talk to him, to be with him. That was when you first began to formulate the idea of going to the moon with him on this run.
Attention, please. Attention. We're about to count down for blast-off. Fasten your seat belts and recline back as far as possible. The next sound will be that of the first stage rockets heating up. Do not be alarmed by the vibration of the ship.
From the bulkheads overhead everywhere comes the deep rumbling sound. Some of the passengers look anxious, some excited. Some leaf casually through magazines as they lie on their backs in the reclining seats.
Those of you who've never been in rockets will find it an experience that will make you proud to belong to the human race.
Countdown for blast-off. X -5, -4, -3, -2, -1, 0.
The rumble heightens. All emotion leaves you. Cold, ravening fear takes over. You try to close your eyes, your ears against it, but your mind won't respond. You look out the port, and the scene is suddenly splashed with a rushing sheet of flame that darkens the sky and is torn from your vision. Snatched away, the buildings, the trees, the roads vanish. A great, soft, uniform weight presses down on you. You push with all your might, but it smothers you, presses your back, drives your blood down, down inside of you. And then, quiet.
We are now 102 miles over New York City. You may unfasten your safety belt. The pull of gravity will no longer trouble you.
You unfasten the safety belt and sit in the seat, wondering what to do next.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to intergalactic flight number 14 out of New York Rocketport, destination Moon. I'm your hostess, Miss Susan Egan. Your pilot for this flight is Captain Jack McLean. Our position at the moment is approximately 550 miles above Earth, and in less than 1/2 hour, we'll be in free fall, completely without gravity. Our speed is currently 29,000 miles per hour. We should arrive at Moonport at exactly 6 p.m. tomorrow, Earth time. I wish you a pleasant voyage. If there's anything you need, Intergalactic is at your service.
Well, you think to yourself, everybody's here. Your husband, his loved one, and his wife. You watch her as she walks back along the rows of seats with an armful of the latest magazine reportings. A tall girl, about 29 or 30, dark brown hair, dark eyes. And not very pretty. The sort who would be able to talk to him about steam tubes and beautiful landings and solar storms.
Mrs. Foster, would you like something to read?
Oh, thank you, no.
First time no rocket ship?
Yes, could you tell?
You look a little green. You feeling well?
Yes, I'm quite all right.
There's just a touch of space sickness. Come along to the ship's hospital and we'll fix you up in a jiffy.
No, I'd rather just sit here a minute.
Of course.
Oh.
Come on. Let me help you into the ship's hospital. That's... Come on, take it easy. Now, come on. Now, you just lie down there. How are you feeling?
I'm scared.
There's nothing to be afraid of.
I think there is.
What is it?
I'm pregnant.
What?
I faked my validation papers.
Do you know what you've done to yourself?
I hoped it wouldn't affect me.
There isn't much I can say, Mrs. Foster. I'll have to tell the captain naturally.
But would it be... could I tell him myself?
If you'd rather, I'll call him. Stewardess to captain.
McLean, what is it, doll?
Jack, there's a passenger in the ship's hospital.
What's up?
You'd better come down here.
Well, look, Susie, I've got my course correction.
I think you'd better come right down.
Okay. Charlie, take it, will you? I'll be right back.
He'll be here in a minute or two. Here, let me put this pillow under your head.
Thank you.
Now, what made you do it?
You wouldn't understand.
You loved him, and he's stationed on the moon, and you wanted to be near him. Is that it?
Could you understand that?
You mean not being able to have the man you love? Yes. I think I could understand.
You wanted to scream at her, to claw at her face. She was going to live, and you were going to die. She was going to share a life with Jack when you were only a dim sort of memory in his mind. He came in, moving fast with that kind of schoolboy gait of his. His dark face was frowning, but handsome as ever.
Now, just why did you... Marcia, honey.
Hello, Jack.
Well, what are you doing aboard? Sue, this is my wife. Marcia, this is Sue Egan.
Oh, hello. I'll be getting out. Excuse me.
What's going on?
Jack, sit down. I want to tell you something.
I'd like to say something first, Marcia. I've had a chance to do a lot of thinking lately. And if you think we could work it out, I'd like to try again.
You mean that?
Yes, I do.
What about Miss Egan? Sue?
What about her?
Well, I thought... I heard...
I'm very fond of Sue.
Yes, I thought you were.
But she isn't my wife. You are.
Was.
What do you mean?
I'm going to die, Jack.
Marcia, what are you talking about?
Jack, I'm pregnant. You see, we're a little too late.
Did you know this when you came aboard?
Yes?
But weren't you aware that... What about the physical?
I used another woman's validation papers. I paid her for it.
Why, Marcia? How could you do a thing like that?
I don't know. All I knew was that I had to see you. I had to be with you.
If you'd only told me.
I couldn't reach you.
Didn't you know what would happen if you took a rocket flight?
I thought somehow it wouldn't happen to me. I didn't know that pregnancy was affected.
And if you had?
I would have come along anyway.
I suppose in a way I'm to blame. I'm the one who walked out.
Don't take the blame on yourself. I'm over 21.
Marcia, what did you hope to accomplish by this?
I'm not sure.
There's only one possibility.
Possibility?
Yes, excuse me. Miss Egan.
Yes?
Come into the ship's hospital, please. Bring Petrocelli from maintenance. Tell them to come up here with a crescent wrench.
Yes, Captain.
What are you going to do?
Do? Nothing much. I'm going to warp the ship around, that's all.
Petrocelli was a big, easygoing man. Jack left me alone with him and Miss Egan while he went back to the control room. Petrocelli started to bolt a metal bed to the side wall of the cabin. Why are you putting the bed on the wall?
Because, lady, when he starts to spin the ship, that outside bulk is going to be down, not sideways. Centrifugal force, see?
I'm afraid I don't.
Well, that's too bad, because I got other things to do besides explain. Okay, Susie, it's all yours.
Is he always that rude?
Doesn't it occur to you that maybe he's under a slight strain?
Strain?
Look, Mrs. McLean, your husband's going to warp the ship around. The chances of his pulling off a maneuver like that without piling us up in the sun or in deep space are about 1,000 to 1. I appreciate that you wanted to see him and show him that he ought to be ashamed of himself for leaving you, but does it occur to you that all of us may lose our lives because of it? Including Petrocelli?
No, I hadn't thought about it.
Let's go. I've got to strap you into that bed.
No, wait. What will happen to me if the ship isn't warped?
Sudden floods of the adrenal glands, convulsions, panics, spastic secretions, and eventually death.
What causes it?
Lack of gravity. We aren't sure just how. The purpose of spinning the ship is to press you up against the outer wall and create the effect of gravity through centrifugal force.
Do you think he can do it?
I think he's the best skipper in the intergalactic fleet.
That isn't the answer to my question. Can he spin the ship without killing everyone?
I have faith in him.
She loved him. She had faith in him. And you to whom he was married, you who carried his child inside you, did you have faith in him?
Everything set in here?
Yes.
Good.
Jack, could we talk alone for a minute?
Only a minute. We have to get the new data into the computer. Susie, will you excuse us, please?
Yes.
Well?
Jack, don't do it.
Marcia.
I mean it. You've no right to risk all those lives just for me.
Marsh, I'm captain of this ship. I do as I see fit, and I can't do otherwise.
But it isn't fair to them. It isn't fair to you.
When we're born into this life, we don't make any agreement that says everything is going to be fair and equitable.
I refuse to let you do it.
You can't stop me.
I'll take my life.
I'm going to ask Sue to stay with you.
What about her? Don't you love her? Well?
Marcia, whether I love Sue Egan is not the point just now. I've decided to spin ship to save you and my son. Or daughter. If it means risking the lives of others, I have to take that risk.
Jack.
Yes?
Why are you doing it?
Because I love you.
through the haze of the drug they gave me that I could see him. There was the curved silver board. Before it sat Jack, hunched like a harried bookkeeper on the last day of the month.
Okay, Charlie. We'll come to the moon obliquely at 0.307. We pass it, stop, spin the ship over once to check speed. Then put the tail down when we feel gravity at 7.035. And if we can do it with the fuel we've got, it'll be a miracle. All right, start the calculators. Engine room, reverse tubes.
Reverse tubes.
Wait for new course vector 7073.
Ready for new course vector.
Set firing formula 2635726.
Firing formula ready.
Coming into course vector. Counting down. 7077. 76.
76.
75.
75.
74.
74.
73. Fire.
You don't recall much after that. There's the bulkhead pressing against you like a magnet, pressing harder and harder. Then there's the needle, and then sudden relaxation. Through it all, the stars and the moon and Jack and Sue Egan dance in a pattern of mist, and the words come back to you from long ago. The things he said to you when you were both in love many years ago.
When I fly the ship, it seems that all Earth watches me through your eyes.
A man comes to love the things he has to fight for, I guess.
How is she?
Hold tight, Marcia. Hold tight to me.
She calls you Marcia. This woman who hates you, who loves your husband, she calls you Marcia.
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 Oh.
Marcia.
The curved ceiling, but a new curve. And soft rose instead of chrome metal. A new feeling, unlike Earth or the ship.
Honey, wake up.
Oh. Jack?
It's all right, honey. We made it. We're on the moon.
Moon?
Yes. You're in the new Lunar City Hospital.
You did it. You really did it.
Well, I've been telling you for years that I was the best pilot in the fleet.
Oh, you don't have to pretend. I know how you must feel about what I did.
I'm not pretending.
I was a selfish coward. I wasn't concerned about anything but my own happiness.
Marcia, there isn't any absolute scale for courage or kindness or goodness. I couldn't pretend to judge you or anybody else. I only know that I believe you're a good person. And I love you. With your faults and your good points.
I just wanted to be with you, Jack. That's all I ever wanted. I'm sorry I'm not brave and strong like Susan or you or the others.
Oh, honey, nobody expects you to be. Come on now. You've got to save your strength. We've got to take good care of you.
He reaches down and touches your lips with his fingers. It's like a benediction. You know that you'll never again question his right to do the things that fulfill him. To take a silver ship above the earth and guide it to new planets. Our child will be born on the moon, you whisper to him. And our grandchildren in the stars.
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, which this month features the Arthur Sellings tale entitled One Across, the story of a man who thought that doing puzzles was an escape, until he suddenly found himself completely boxed in. Galaxy Magazine on your newsstand today. Tonight, by transcription, X-1 has brought you Jaywalker, a story from the pages of Galaxy written by Ross Rocklin and adapted for radio by George Lefferts. Featured in the cast were Bob Hastings, Terry Keane, Raymond Edward Johnson, Connie Lemke, and Eugene Francis. Your announcer, Fred Collins. X-1 was directed by Daniel Sutter. and is an NBC Radio Network production. Next week, the story of the journey that had no end, of a ship that had traveled so long through space that none aboard her could remember their destination or even wonder where they were going. Listen for the sense of wonder next week on X-1. The big news tomorrow centers around the tiny principality of Monaco, where one of the century's most fabulous weddings will take place. And NBC Radio is on the spot to cover it for you. In the daytime, NBC's Weekday reports the civil wedding ceremony as it happens with simultaneous English translation.
After her baby daughter was lost in a shipwreck 14 years ago, Mrs. Patricia Gregory started searching the world over in the hope that her little girl might still be alive. Now Mrs. Gregory is again in the South Seas, and with her on her private yacht are Captain Tex Bradford and Jerry Hall. Jerry was a young radio operator in Los Angeles who received the first mysterious message about an old sailor having seen the Magic Island and the little white girl on it. The yacht is lying now completely becalmed near a strange bank of fog.
I tell you, you've got to believe me. You've got to believe me.
Don't get so excited, Jerry. We can hear you without your shouting like that.
Yeah, let's take it easy, kid.
Oh, I'm sorry. But this is something to get excited about. You know that fog bank over there is not fog, don't you, Captain Bradford?
Well, it doesn't act like any fog I ever saw, Jerry, but what else could it be?
But, Mrs. Gregory, you still think it's fog, don't you?
What else can I think?
Well, you can think about the story that the old sailor told and the Magic Island. That fog, well, or whatever it is out there, is just where the old man said we'd find the island, isn't it?
Right to the inch, boy.
And this yacht was up against it, in it. But we didn't get wet or cold from it. Fog is wet, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes, of course.
And Captain Bradford's fog machine has always made a hole through every other fog he tried it on, hasn't it, Tex?
I've never found another fog that machine wouldn't penetrate to a point of fair visibility.
Then that stuff over there is not fog. It isn't wet, and your machine didn't even start to go through it. It looks just like a wall made of gray stone or cement.
Tex, you're not really convinced about this, are you?
I've lived a long time without seeing anything that looked like magic, as Jerry likes to call it, but I've never seen anything like this.
Well, I don't know whether it's magic or not, but it's sure funny. And there's another mighty funny thing about this whole business.
What else?
This ocean is too smooth right around the edge of that fog. Look farther away on the sides and behind us. The water is rough enough, but here, right here near that fog bank, the water is as smooth as glass. The boat isn't even rolling.
I noticed that, Jerry, and I don't like it.
Then there is something mysterious about this place. And if the island... Oh, if the island could only be here, and my little Joan alive and well on it.
Well, I don't know about the island, but I do know we ought to find out more about that fog stuff. Why not try sailing around it? Maybe we can see something from the other side.
Well, we did. What's the use? You couldn't see anything?
Tex, you've seen something you're keeping from Jerry and me. You do know something about that fog bank.
Do you, Captain Bradford? Do you?
Well, I didn't want to tell you. It doesn't help matters a bit. There's no use of all of us worrying about the impossible. But I do know a little more about that fog bank than you two.
Don't treat me as if I were a child. What is it, Tex?
Oh, we're stuck so bad now that a little more won't scare me any worse. What did you find out, Captain?
Well, you and Mrs. Gregory remember that you spent a long time working over that chart while I was on deck?
Yes.
I mean, before I called you to come and look at the fog?
Why, we were talking about Joan and the Magic Island and all. I guess we did talk a long time.
What were you doing, Tex?
Well, I was on the bridge, and the skipper will tell you this is the truth.
Yes?
Go on. Go on.
Well, we have sailed around that fog bank.
We've sailed around it?
Gee. Well, what was on the other side?
A fog bank.
Oh. Then it is just fog.
Wait, Mrs. Gregory. Go on, Captain. There's more, isn't there?
There's a whole lot more. From the circumference of the circle we described in rounding this thing, it must be about half a mile around it. Possibly a little more. And it's perfectly round.
That doesn't tell us much.
I want to hear it all, Tex.
No, I don't want to get you all worked up over it. May not mean a thing. But our instruments read exactly the same on all four sides of that fog.
What? You mean they didn't change at all as you went around?
That's it. And from our solar readings and my radio beam check, that reading is correct. Correct to a fraction of a second, but...
But what?
Hurry. Hurry and tell us, or I'm going to pass out.
The readings we took all around this thing belong in the center of it. Everything reads to a perfect center when you're sailing around the edge of that fog.
Then a regular vessel, I mean one that's just sailing through here on a regular run, would skirt around that fog without knowing they'd run off their course.
I guess they would. We found nothing to indicate our course had been changed. And if we weren't looking for trouble, we would have figured the same as any other navigator. That we were just passing a small fog bank and not being compelled to follow a distorted curve around it.
Then that means just one thing. There is something behind or in that fog. Something. And that something is...
I'll bet it's the Magic Island. Oh, golly whiskers. We're here. We found it. Gee, Mrs. Gregory. Now we'll get your little girl back.
Not so fast, son. Even if there is an island there, what can we do about it? The yacht won't go through the fog. We tried that.
Then let's figure why it won't go through it.
That's out of the question, isn't it?
Nothing is out of the question with Tex and I to figure things out.
Well, just leave me out of that, Jerry. You figure this yourself. I'm stuck.
Well, if we can't sail through it, there's something funny about it. And something funny about a fog means it's being done on purpose.
Jerry, you mean it isn't just a natural phenomenon? That the fog is man-made, controlled?
How about those instruments, Captain? And the fog holding the boat just like a magnet. That's it. Magnet. Oh, giggling goldfish. Why didn't I think of that before? That fog is magnetized.
That's my idea, boy, but I hated to make such a wild statement.
Well, that sounds possible. There are a great many magnetic deposits and formations in many parts of the world.
But don't you see, Mrs. Gregory? We don't mean a magnetic field that just happened there. That fog has been magnetized by somebody or something.
Do you think that's possible? You're not just excited and running away with yourself, Jerry.
Well, if he is, I'm running way ahead of him. Patricia, that fog bank is not ordinary fog. It's magnetized as surely as we're standing on this yacht looking at it. And there's probably an island hidden in it.
Well, but Tex...
And that's not guesswork. It's a scientific probability.
What else would have held our boat against that fog but a powerful magnetic force of some kind? And what else but a magnet? And a magnet with somebody running it would have turned the boat loose when it got ready.
Why, it's thrilling. But it's terrible, too. What can it mean?
It can mean we're up against the greatest piece of electrical or chemical wizardry this generation has seen. And we're going to see all of it.
Where do we start, Tex?
Start guessing, and as if you've done pretty well so far, Jerry. Suppose you take the first guess.
Well, isn't it better to do something you're sure of than it is to guess?
What can anyone be sure of in these weird circumstances?
Got something definite in mind, son?
Well, we can see what's inside that fog ring. If the little plane lashed to the deck, we'll fly over it.
Of course. Why didn't you think of that, Tex?
I did, but it'll take an hour to assemble the wing spread, lower it to the water, and get ready for a takeoff. By that time, it'll be pretty dark. I don't like to try getting the plane back on board at night, except in an emergency.
Golly whiskers. Here you've got a magnetized bank of artificial fog right under your nose, and a magic island, and a... Well, how much do you need to make it an emergency?
Well, I'm in a matter of life and death. That island, if it is inside the fog, has been there a lot of years, and it won't run away tonight.
Then we can't do anything until morning?
Oh, I guess not. Say, I've got it. I'll swim ashore. That's it.
You'll do everything else, boy.
You can't do that, Jerry.
I'll bet I can. And I bet I'll get through that fog, too. I won't wear anything that a magnet will hang on to.
And after you get through the fog, what then?
What do you mean? What then?
Mrs. Gregory and I are outside with the yacht. And if anything should happen to you, we couldn't get in there.
Why not try shooting through the fog?
No, you might hit... Of course, I mean, if this really is the island we're looking for, Joan might be hurt.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Well, I guess we'll have to wait till morning.
I've got one small idea. Let's see. Skipper!
Aye.
Will you step up forward here, please?
Aye.
Now, Jerry, I want you to go into our cabin. Get that long black case, the one that looks like a violin case, out of the instrument locker. Bring it here and handle it as if it were eggs.
Right away, sir. I'll get it.
Sir?
Skipper, the swell is rolling heavier now. We can't use the motors to hold our position as I need all the power in this cable here. Will you try for a good anchorage so I can cut all the juice away from the engine room?
Sounded.
Well?
3
fathoms?
Aye.
Can I help, Tex? I'm so nervous, but for once I seem to be helpless. I'm sorry I've always been able to think with you before, but no,
I understand, darling.
Tex.
I didn't say anything.
I know you didn't, but I'm glad you said it.
Oh, I suppose I shouldn't have.
You shouldn't, and I've been waiting years to hear it.
Patricia,
Here's the case, Captain Bright. Oh, golly whiskers. I guess you forgot the case, didn't you? I'll go back and bring it in again if you want me to.
No, Jerry, you just rescued me in time.
You don't yell for help very loud, do you?
Now, Jerry, come on. Let's hook up the machine. Break that cable. Bring the shielded lead plug over here while I open the case.
Are we going to anchor here for the night? The skipper's paying out the stern chain.
Yes. Tex thinks we'd better not move till morning, and the skipper reports sounding's okay for a good anchorage.
Can I help with the machine?
Not yet, Jerry. I'm a little afraid to have anyone but myself handle it until it's set up.
It's sure a funny-looking thingamabob. What is it?
I never saw this before either, Tex. Is that what you've been working on so secretly in the laboratory?
I've done nothing else for over a year, and it's perfect.
What is it?
Well, I haven't named it officially yet, but I think I'll call it my Straightoscope.
Straightoscope?
Well, what does that mean?
Well, it's a combination of strata and scope, as from stratosphere and periscope. In other words, it will do through the air, and at tremendous altitudes and distances, what the periscope will do within a very limited range.
I think it sounds lovely, Tex, but what will it do?
Left you behind that time, eh, Pat? How about you, son?
I think I know what you mean. You can look away up in the air, then away over someplace, then down again, like seeing over the horizon. Isn't that it?
That's it exactly, Jerry, and I know it works. I've tried it over a 300-foot building. When I was on the ground on one side, the objective was on the ground on the other side, and I saw it.
And now you're going to look over that fog and down onto the island.
Oh, can we? Really?
I'm getting excited now. You see, it's a case of plotting the trajectory of the wave curve I'm sending out. Figuring the density of the exact strata in the atmosphere I must refract the wave from to bring it down to Earth on the desired spot.
But how do you see anything with a wave?
These waves will return to me with almost as great an intensity as they leave the instrument with. Then I merely catch them in a tuned wave trap. And with a light valve and converter, I project the image on this little ground glass screen here and... Pat, Jerry, I've got it. I can see it.
Is it the island?
Is it, Tex? What do you see?
It is growing dark. The magnificent yacht of Mrs. Patricia Gregory rides at anchor just off a mysterious bank of fog in the South Seas. On board the yacht, Mrs. Gregory, her business manager Tex Bradford, and their young companion Jerry Hall are eagerly trying an experiment. Bradford has just set up a unique piece of mechanism through which he can see over the horizon, or over a building and down into the street on the other side of it. Now the machine is focused on the strange fog bank, and behind this bank lies what? Will this prove to be the magic island?
What do you see, Tex?
Hold on, son. Don't get excited now. I think we've got something here.
Oh, please, Tex, may I look?
Well, of course, Pat. Go to it. You'll be next, Jerry.
I'm almost afraid to look. 14 years is a long time to look for something. We're almost afraid to find it then.
Go on, Mrs. Gregory. You'll never get Captain Bradford to tell us what he saw through that thing. Take a look for yourself. Gee whiz, if Joan is there, after you hunting for her for 14 years, you ought to be the first one to see her.
You're a gallant lad, Jerry. Oh, Tex, what did you see?
Nothing doing, Pat. Here, you look. I just got the range for you. But hurry now, it's nearly dark.
All right. Do I put my eye here?
That's it. Steady does it, Pat. I'll work that sextant just a hair's breadth if you want to.
Right.
Do you see anything, Mrs. Gregory?
Hush, kid.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I think I see a group of people. They aren't very clear yet. No, that's better. The whole island shines, as if it were polished stone or some kind of metal. Now I see the group more clearly.
Yeah? What else?
Jerry.
Yeah, I know, but...
Oh, Tex. Jerry,
She's fainted, kid. Run and get a glass of water out of my cabin. Hurry.
Yes, sir.
Pat, you're all right, Pat. Just take it easy for a minute. Jerry's getting you a glass of water. Pat. There, that's better, Pat. Where's that water, Jerry?
I'm coming.
Oh, what? Tex. Tex, I saw...
Is she all right now? Is she all right?
She'll be all right in a jiffy. Hand me that glass of water.
Here.
Where's the water?
Huh?
Where's the water?
Oh, golly. I drank it myself. I'll get some more.
It's a good thing you didn't need that water.
I'm all right. Silly of me to do that, wasn't it?
Nothing you could ever do would be silly to me, Pat, but just what got you so quick? You saw something?
Tex, I saw that group of people. They're real, and they're on an island all right, and... Oh, it's almost too much to believe, but I thought I saw a young girl with them.
I thought I saw the same. And for your sake, I hope we're both right.
Here's the glass with the water in it.
Thanks, Jerry. Now I feel better. That's the first time I ever felt like fainting.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I would have fainted if I hadn't used the first glass of water on myself. I could tell what you saw from the way you acted. May I look now?
Help yourself, son.
Boy, what a thrill this is. Now, let's see. Oh, looks kind of cloudy at first. There now. I can see better. This focus is easy enough. I got it. Gee, there's people there. People on the island right inside the fog. Whole bunches of them. But they're all men. No, they ain't. Hey, there's a girl with them. A girl, Mrs. Gregory.
Yes, Jerry, I saw that too, but don't hope too much.
Hope? Nothing. That's your little girl. I know it is. That's Joan. She looks just like you do.
Now, Jerry, I made that machine, and I happen to know you can't distinguish features at that distance.
I don't care about her features. I'm talking about what she looks like.
You better let me take another look, Jerry. It's getting dark. It's pitch black in 15 minutes. We won't get any twilight. Better learn what I can about our situation before we hole up for the night. All right now, Pat?
Quite all right.
I'll steady you up, Mrs. Gregory. You just hang on to my hand. I'm not nervous anymore.
Thank you, Jerry.
What do you see, Captain?
There's a group of people on the island, all right, and... Well, now, there's a funny one. They seem to be pointing something at us.
Bet they're going to shoot. Let's duck.
Oh. No, it looks more like a telescope. There's something like that, and they know how to look through that fog. They see us all right. Some of them are waving their arms and pointing at us.
Well, we sure couldn't see anything through the fog. Good thing you had this machine for reflecting your rays against the air over the island and looking down on it.
From the way they're acting, it's obvious they see us and see us plainly.
Is there any danger, Tex?
I think not. At least not so long as we just ride at anchor. Here, say something's happening.
What are they doing now?
They are not doing anything. At least not anything I can see, but the fog is. I've got it. They've figured out that I'm watching them by means of rays refracted over the top of that fog. So they're closing it over the top.
Closing what over?
The island. All of it. You were right, Jerry. That fog is artificially made and perfectly controlled. Now they're covering up overhead with it. I can hardly see. That's all for now. They put a perfect roof of fog over that whole island, and it didn't take them more than 30 seconds to do it.
Then they did know we were watching them. Sure enough.
What do you think we ought to do now, Tex?
Nothing. Just nothing. It's nearly dark. There's no reason to fear anything, and they can't watch us any longer.
I'm getting a little chilly. Probably just nerves. It's anything but cold this evening.
Yeah, we'll go in the radio room and sit down and talk this thing over quietly. Now, you're doing splendidly, Pat. I know what a strain you must be under.
This would be a strain for anybody. I'll go ahead and open the door.
I'll leave this straightoscope right here for the time. You take that easy chair, Pat.
All right.
Jerry, warm up the radio.
Oh, boy. Do I get to use it?
Go ahead, son. Let me know when it's warm, and I'll give you the message.
Now, Tex, tell me honestly. Do you think there's a chance that my little girl is on that island?
After what we've seen in the last 6 hours, there's a chance for anything. I've never had any hope that you would find little Joan. Everyone agreed that you must have drowned in that shipwreck. And 14 years is a long time without news of her.
But now, Tex, now, don't you see that there's some reason that may make those 14 years of silence possible? That island is weird. It's mysterious. It's almost what the old sailor said it was, a magic island.
Agreed. And for the first time, I'm willing to admit there is a chance. A mighty good chance that the little girl on the island could be Joan.
How can we find out, and how soon?
We'll have to take our time. For one thing, we don't know what that island represents. Nothing in the ordinary or usual run of islands, that's sure. With all their fog machines or whatever they use to hide the island with, and their magnetized circle to keep boats off, it might mean a lot of things. And they're most likely all bad.
I've got the set ready, Captain. What's the call?
Call Johnson at J12C as you did before. Sign your name and the yacht call, J24Y.
Okay. J12C, J12C, Jerry Hall on J24Y to J12C. Hello, J12. Hello, J12.
Now hold it, Jerry. He's got an automatic recording pickup there. And even if he's out of the room, he'll get a sustained curve on his frequency disturbance graph when he checks it.
You're the most mysterious folks I ever saw. You've got yachts as big as battleships, private radio stations on wavelengths nobody ever heard of, and call letters like a kid's club. What's it all about?
You promised not to ask that again till we were ready to tell you, Jerry.
I'm sorry. But you'll be sorry if I die of curiosity.
Nobody ever died of it yet.
Well, I don't feel any too good.
Hello, J24Y. Hello, J12C, Johnson. Go ahead, J24.
Here he is. What'll I tell him?
Give him our position. Make the story about the island brief. Ask him stand by. If we do not report all clear by tomorrow noon, he has to ask D.C. to rush full protection. Story is for publication. He can use own judgment. Shoot it, kid.
Right. Hello, J12C. Jerry Hall for Captain Bradford on J24Y. Are you ready?
Go ahead, Hall. Go ahead.
Located island, surrounded by fog camouflage. Standing by for daylight to try landing. Boat held off this evening by magnetic ring in ocean, probably 100 yards offshore. Our position is latitude 29.
Hey.
What's the matter, Skipper?
Danger.
What kind of danger?
Drifting.
Drifting? Well, what's the matter with your anchors?
Dragging.
Dragging the anchors? I don't hear any wind. What's going on?
Hurry.
Do I keep sending?
Stay right in there, son, no matter what happens. Stay with that radio and report in full to J12. Come on, Pat, we'll look around.
Are you still there, J12C? Hello, J12.
What happened? I can hear you very faintly, J24. Go ahead, Hall.
The boat is drifting. Captain Bradford and Mrs. Gregory have gone on deck with the skipper. No wind. Calm sea. Anchored in 3 fathoms, but drifting. Dragging the anchors. No reason for it. Stand by for emergency flash. Got that? Hey, the lights are going out. Something's wrong.
Your signal is fading, J24. Standing by for emergency call. Are you getting me, J24? Hello, Hall. J12C to J24. Why, can you?
Oh, the set's gone dead. And the lights are all out. The same thing that happened before. I'd better get up on deck. Oh! Golly whiskers. That chair hurt my shins. Where's the handle on this door? Ah, there it is. Oh, boy. Hey, Tex, where are you?
Come up forward, Jerry.
Where are you? I can't see a thing.
Right here, you nearly bumped into us. Your juice quit on you, didn't it?
Yeah. Same thing we had today?
The skipper's working with the crew to get out a spare anchor over the stern, but we're already dragging 2 of them.
Well, if it wasn't so dark, we might see what's happening.
All we can see is a funny gray color, and you can't see much of that.
Tex, Jerry, I think I can smell something unusual.
Huh? You're right. I smell a gas or a chemical of some kind.
I know why the sky's all gray, and I know what the smell is, too.
The fog. Is that it?
That's it. And we're drifting into that island.
We're going through the fog, Tex.
I know it. Look there. Dead ahead. See that faint glow?
It's a little lighter up there, and the fog isn't quite so thick. That fog is some kind of gas, by the smell.
Doesn't seem to affect us any, though.
We're drifting faster, aren't we? That glow of light is rapidly getting nearer.
I hope we don't smash into something before we get on the beach, or grab a pier, or a dock of some kind.
Why should we drift to the island? We tried for 2 hours to get through this fog with full speed ahead, and we couldn't move. Now we're drifting through it.
You don't drift and drag 2 anchors in 3 fathoms of still water, with no wind and no tide.
We're not drifting?
I'll say we're not drifting. That magnetism is working again, only stronger this time. We're being pulled. This boat is being dragged to that island.
Kellogg's Pep, the super delicious cereal, presents
The Adventures of Superman. Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Yes, it's Superman. And today his famous friends, Batman and Robin, are hoping to gain some information for him concerning the mysterious crescent moon and star symbols. We'll join them in a moment. But right now, let's hear what Dan McCullough has in store for us.
Say, I just heard about a fellow and a girl who are having a load of fun out of these exciting comic buttons from packages of Kellogg's Pep by long distance. That's right. Yes, sir. You see, they're cousins, and they live about 100 miles from each other, but they write letters every week telling how many buttons they've collected so far and which new ones they have and how they've traded duplicates with their pals. Of course, they're mighty proud of these smart-looking buttons because the colors are so bright and clear and the pictures of your favorite funny sheet characters stand out like anything. And remember, gang, there are 18 different comic buttons in all. Why, you'll want to collect every single one of them. Just make sure Mom gets you a good supply of that super delicious whole wheat flake cereal, Kellogg's Pep, because that's the prize package, the only way you can get these swell comic buttons. You don't send in any money, not even a box stop. Can't even buy them anywhere. But inside every package of Pep, there's an exclusive prize. One of these bright-colored new comic buttons or a military insignia or warplane button. That's P-E-P, Pep, made by Kellogg's of Battle Creek. Now, the adventures of Superman.
Although the Atom Man is dead, two pieces of kryptonite, the deadly element which gave him atomic power, are still in existence. Fearful that they may be used to create another atomic monster or something even more horrible, Superman called on the famous Batman and Robin for aid in locating the Scarlet Widow, who had stolen the original kryptonite fragment. Their only clue to her was a mysterious coin engraved with a crescent moon and a star, which Superman had found in the apartment of Sidney, the late alive the Atom Man. Disguised as seedy, down-at-the-heel characters, Batman and Robin drove to the waterfront that evening and contacted a shabby, ferret-faced man known as Squealy Evers, who collected and sold information to members of the criminal world. As we continue now, at the street end of a fog-shrouded pier, Batman and Robin, calling themselves George and Jack Robinson, have just showed the strange coin to Squealy. Listen.
What is it?
Quarter? Look again, Squealy.
What the? Crescent and star. Where'd you get it?
What's the difference? Can you give us any information about it? $200 in cash, if you can.
How about it, Squealy?
Yeah, I can help you.
You can?
Yeah. I can help you a lot.
Well, give, Squealy, give.
I'll take the $200 first.
Nothing's doing. We gotta see the merchandise.
Give me the dough or I don't talk.
Now, wait a minute.
Let me handle this, Jack. Here's 100, Squealy. You get the other 100 when you've spoken your piece. Okay?
Yeah, well, yeah, I guess that's okay.
Here you are.
Thanks. Now get this, you guys. I don't know where you got the gimme.
What?
That thing. The coin with the crescent star on it.
Never mind where.
And I don't know who you are.
We're Mrs. Robinson's boys, George and Jack. I'm Jack, the one you say quick as.
Okay, George and Jack. I'm going to tell you something worth lots more than $200, see?
Stop stalling. Give.
We're all ears.
Then listen. Take my advice and drop the coin in the sewer.
Huh?
Then beat it out of here and forget all about it. Don't ask nobody no questions about it. Don't try to find out nothing. Just forget it.
Are you kidding?
What kind of talk is that, Squealy?
Smart talk. And like I say, worth a lot more than $200. I'll take the 100 now.
Not so fast. We're buying information, not advice.
I'm giving you information on how to stay healthy.
For $200, you ought to throw in a bottle of vitamins.
Cut the wisecracks. Now, look, Squealy. We don't scare easily. So if you've got something to tell us, let's have it. Or we'll take our money back and be on our way.
And that's our advice to you.
Listen, will you? I knew 3 other guys wanted to know about the crescent and star, see? Guys just as smart as you think you are. And 2 of them bigger and tougher. And where are they now?
All right, where?
One of them was found floating out in the harbor not too far from this pier. He wasn't out there taking a swim. He had a knife in his back.
That's all very interesting.
Gruesome is a better word.
But it doesn't tell us what we want to know.
Take my advice, buddy, and don't try to find out nothing. There's easier ways to commit suicide.
Then you think the people we're curious about took care of those 3 men?
I didn't say that. I just said they were inquirers, see? Just like you are.
Then each one had an accident. I get it.
Yeah.
All right, you've done your duty. Now, suppose you stop trying to scare us and tell us what we want to know.
I told you all I'm going to tell you, for your own good. Now, give me that other C-note. I got a scrap.
What for? You didn't tell us anything.
Oh, no? I told you how to save your hides.
Thanks very much. But that wasn't the information we came to you for. We want to know who's behind the secret symbols and where we can find them.
I don't know. I don't know no more than I told you. Nobody does.
Come clean, Squealy.
I swear. Please, mister, I gotta beat it. Give me my dough.
Okay. Here you are.
What? Hey, wait a minute.
Thanks. Good night. Be smart. Do like I told you.
Well, he sure made a sucker out of you, Batman.
Not so loud, Robin. I know what I'm doing.
Oh, yeah? You paid that fox $200 for telling us exactly nothing.
Not quite nothing.
I call it nothing. We knew the gang were trailing of bad actors. He didn't have to tell us.
Will you keep your voice down? Come on.
Where to?
After Squealy, of course.
What do you want to do, tip him another 100?
I want to find out where he's going.
He's probably going to look for another sucker. The way you fell, he must think this is his lucky night.
Maybe it'll turn out to be our lucky night.
You mean handing out good money to a water rat is lucky?
If Squealy gives us a lead to the people we're looking for, it'll be worth 10 times what we paid him.
How's he going to give us a lead?
Squealy gets well paid by the racketeers in this town for passing along tidy bits of information.
So?
So, I think he might consider his little interview with us a tidy bit of information and pass it along to some interested parties. Catch on?
So that's it. You think he's hot-footing to tell the Crescent and Storm Mob about us, huh? And if we tail him, we'll find out?
Take it easy, Robin. I'm just hoping. Oh, quick. Into the doorway.
What's the idea?
He stopped and turned around. See?
So what? He can't make us out in this fog.
Never taking any chances. All right. He's moving now. Let's go.
Yeah, I should have known better than to call you a sucker, Batman. You knew all the time he intended to double-cross us, huh?
I was sure he knew something about the people we want. Maybe not much, but something. Because he knows a little about everything crooked that goes on around here. So when he refused to tell us anything at all, I figured he might try to sell any information we gave him to whoever's behind the Crescent and Stars. Now, careful. Careful crossing the street. The car might not see us in this fog.
Okay. But look, if you thought that, why did you pay him the money?
Just on the off chance that he'd think I was a sucker, the way you did. And not watch too closely to see if we were trailing him. Quick, duck back. He's turning around again.
Look, he's going into that coffee joint.
Come on, step on it.
We're not going in after him, are we?
Of course not. Unless he steps into a phone booth. But I want to see what he does. And if he meets anybody. Is this as fast as you can walk?
I'm taking it easy out of respect for your age.
Oh, thanks. Okay, hold it. Now, come on up to the window.
He'll see us.
No. Light in there and we're out in the dark.
There he is, sitting at the counter.
All right. Now keep your eyes open. And don't get too close to the window. Standing on the dark, fog-swept sidewalk, Batman and Robin peer into the shabby coffee shop at the gray, ferret-faced man, who they hope will lead them to the mysterious people they seek.
We'll return in a moment for the exciting climax of today's episode. But first, here again is your announcer.
You know, gang, there's loads of fun for you just in looking over your collection of comic buttons from packages of Kellogg's Pep. Because every single picture of a funny paper character makes you think of all the things that character has done in the comic strips. For instance, when you look at K.O.'s picture, you remember how silly he looks, sleeping in a dresser drawer. And Smitty reminds you of all the gags he thinks up so his boss will let him go to the ball game. And, of course, Superman stands for the wonderful things he's done, preventing crimes and saving people from danger. Actually, every single one of these 18 comic strip characters looks just as real as in the funny papers, and even more colorful because the buttons are done up in brilliant red and blue and black on a gleaming white background. They look mighty smart, pinned on your jacket or your dress or cap, and they're so easy to get. Why, you don't spend any money, not so much as a box top, and you can't even buy them anywhere. All you do is to ask Mom to get you some of that super delicious whole wheat flake cereal, Kellogg's Pep. Inside every package, there's an exclusive prize, one of these exciting new comic buttons, or a military insignia or warplane button. You'll want to eat lots of P.E.P. Pep, made by Kellogg's of Battle Creek. And now back to the adventures of Superman.
Batman and Robin have trailed a man called Squealy Evers, an underworld informer, to a shabby coffee shop on the Metropolis waterfront. Standing outside in the fog-swept darkness, they peer in through the dirty plate glass window, watching Squealy's every move. Meanwhile, within the shop where a radio is playing softly, the informer sits alone at the counter, paying no attention to the few other customers who sit a few stools away. But when the waiter sets a cup of coffee before him, Squealy speaks to him in a low, barely perceptible voice, scarcely moving his lips.
Call the boss, Tommy. Tell him 2 guys were asking me about the Crescent and Star.
What 2 guys?
Big guy and a kid. Go get me a cruller or something now. Don't make out like you're talking to me. They're out front.
Okay. Hey, mister. Now, what's dope?
They call themselves Robinson, but that ain't their name. I tried to scare them off, but they didn't scare. They think I don't know they're tailing me. Tell the boss I'll stare him down Front Street and around behind the North Docks. Now scram and call from the kitchen. Don't come near me no more.
Okay. Methodically, the gray ferret-faced informer munches his cruller and drinks his coffee. Then, rising, he drops a quarter on the counter, selects a toothpick from a bowl, and moves in the stoop-shouldered gait to the door. He opens the door and steps into the street. For a moment, he stands idly, glancing about him, then begins walking up the street, the fog swirling about his shabby, stoop-shouldered figure. When he is almost lost to sight, Batman and Robin slip from a doorway and start after him. Come on, Robin, after him.
I'm with you. I hope he leads us to a more interesting place than that coffee shop this time. That was a washout.
Apparently.
What do you mean, apparently? It was. All he did was eat a cruller and drink a cup of coffee. Oh, yeah, and suck a toothpick.
Keep your chin up, Robin. Maybe the next stop will pay off. Swiftly, Batman and Robin slip through the fog behind Squealy Evers, unaware that the gray informer is leading them into a deadly trap. What will happen now? Tomorrow's episode is packed with tense action and excitement, fellows and girls, so don't miss it. Be with us at the same time, same station, when Batman and Robin battle terrific odds as only they can in The Adventures of Superman.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Fellows and girls, be sure to follow the adventures of Superman. Brought to you every day, Monday through Friday. Same time, same station, by the grand old Kellogg Company of Battle Creek. And for other thrilling adventures of Superman, see your local newspaper. Superman is also a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC publications. Say, gang, you'll get a bang out of this. Kellogg's Variety is back. That's the grand 10-package assortment of 6 swell Kellogg cereals. Makes breakfast more fun than a picnic. Makes it easy for Mom, too. No dishes to wash, thanks to the new Kell Bowl Pack. You can eat right out of it. What's more, these generous packages are great for lunch boxes and outings. So ask Mom to hurry and get Kellogg's Variety at the grocer's her very first chance. And be sure to be with us tomorrow for the thrilling adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System. Kellogg's Pep, the super delicious cereal, presents The Adventures of Superman.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Yes, it's Superman. And today, Batman and Robin are walking straight into a trap set by the wily informer, Squealy Evers. We'll learn the outcome in a moment. But right now, here's Dan McCullough with a nifty suggestion. Let's have it, Dan.
Okay, there's a young fellow in our block who's got a new game. It's built around those comic buttons you fellows and girls are all collecting from packages of Kellogg's Pep. Well, I thought that maybe you'd like to try it. You see, it's a guessing game, identifying the different funny paper characters, and you get a score every time you know the right answer. For instance, one time it might be about the hats they wear. Somebody would ask, who wears a white derby? And the answer would be Moon Mullins, sure. Or, who wears a skating cap? You know that one? Why, that'd be Lillums. Or maybe, who never wears a hat? Think now. Why, sure, Superman, of course. Isn't that fun? Yes, sir, there's no end to the fun you can have with these swell comic buttons. And they're so bright-colored and smart-looking that, well, you're mighty proud to wear them and collect them and wear them pinned on your jacket or your dress or cap. Of course, there's only one way to get these comic buttons. You don't send in any money, not even a box stop, and you can't buy them. But whenever Mom opens a new package of that super delicious whole wheat flake cereal, Kellogg's Pep, there's an exclusive prize for you. One of these brilliant new comic buttons, or a military insignia, or a warplane button. Ask Mom to get you lots of P-E-P, Pep, made by Kellogg's of Battle Creek. Now, the adventures of Superman.
2 pieces of kryptonite, the strange and deadly element that gave the late Atom Man his atomic power, are still at large. Fearful that they may be used to create another Atom Man, or something even more terrible, Superman enlisted the aid of Batman and Robin in his search for them. Their only clue is a strange silver coin, engraved with a crescent moon and star, which Superman believes is a symbol of a powerful secret organization. At the Metropolis waterfront, Batman and Robin, disguised in tattered clothes, contacted a criminal informer known as Squealy Evers, who warned them to give up their search. Our friends trailed him to a shabby coffee shop, where, unseen by them, he mumbled a message to the waiter. As we continue now, unaware that they are being led into a trap, Batman and Robin are trailing the gray, stooped figures of Squealy Evers through the dark, fog-bound waterfront streets. Listen.
Look, Batman, I just thought of something.
Don't think so loud, Robin.
He's almost a block ahead. He can't hear us.
Just the same.
Okay, but listen. You said you figure Squealy's on his way to tip off the Crescent and Star mob that we've been inquiring about them.
I said I hoped he was.
Okay, but if he knows who they are and can get money for tipping them off about nosy gents like us, why didn't he just lead us into their arms like a couple of lambs to slaughter?
Informers don't work that way, Robin.
What do you mean?
Informers are cowards. The hyenas of the criminal jungle. They put the finger on the victims, but let others do the actual dirty work. They are never found on the scene of a crime. Rarely even carry weapons.
They keep their own dirty skirts clean, huh?
That's right.
Lovely character.
They don't come any worse. They... Oh, behind these pilings, quick.
What's up now?
Squealy stopped and turned around again.
Hard to see in this fog. Yeah, I see him. But did he see us?
I hope not. But he might have.
That's a sweet thought. If he does know we're tailing him, he might be leading us into a trap.
Could be. Well, come on. You hit the road again.
Could be, huh? I must say you're cool enough about it.
What do you want me to do? Run a temperature?
No, but if it's all the same to you, let's strip down to our costumes just in case.
Might be a good idea. These old shoes we're wearing make a lot of noise on the pavement. Now, all right, let's change. Work fast, Robin. We don't want to lose him.
I'd like to lose him on a desert island and do the world a favor.
Oh, don't be silly. I'm hoping that Squealy will give us a lead to the 2 pieces of kryptonite.
When I remember what Superman said about somebody maybe creating another Atom Man with the kryptonite, I get more duck bumps than a...
A duck?
Thanks.
You're welcome. You ready?
All set.
Mask on?
Yep.
All right, let's go then. On the double till we spot him again.
See him yet?
Not yet.
Golly, hope we didn't lose him.
I don't see how we could. No place he could have turned. Oh, slow down. There he is.
Where?
Turn left at the big stack of packing cases there. Yeah. Looks like the beginning of a dock. Come on.
What's he going out on a dock for?
Your guess is as good as mine. We'll soon find out. Don't trip over those sacks.
I just want to trip over those 2 pieces of kryptonite.
Okay. Here's where Squealy turned off. Come on. Hold it, Robin.
What now?
I don't see our ferret-faced friend.
No, neither do I. Where'd he go?
Search me. It's just this long aisle running up the dock.
Maybe he wised up we were trailing him and ducked behind one of the packing cases.
Looking for somebody, boys?
Who said that?
Somebody up ahead on the right.
Okay, boys, let him have it.
Robin, watch out! I'm latching a lovely chin just right for a haymaker.
Hey, Batman and Robin. Tap him, Mickey.
No, you don't, Judge. Stop this one. Nice going, Batman. Have you bums seen my flying tackle lately? You're guaranteed to bring the house down.
Put that gun down. It might go off, I said. Oh, you won't. Okay. When you wake up, remember where you got the black eye.
Batman, you okay?
Never better. How are you doing?
Not so good. I'm running out of punching bags.
Hey, the cops, let me out of here.
Not so fast, ugly butt.
Never mind that last one, Robin. Come back here.
Well. 2 more wells. I count 5 Sleeping Beauty.
Yes. That was a trap that failed to click.
A trap? Well, you figure friend Squealy walked us into it.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Hey, what's going on there?
Right this way, officer.
You can put your hardware up. The fun is over.
Telling the 2 police officers what had happened, Batman and Robin helped load the 5 unconscious men into their squad car and accompanied the police to headquarters, where, a short time later, having phoned Clark Kent to join them, we find Batman, Robin, and Kent in Inspector Henderson's office.
We've had those 5 mugs on the grill for half an hour, but there's no soap.
You mean they won't talk, Inspector?
Oh, they talk all right, Batman. But they won't give us any answers that help. They swear they don't know Squealy Evers, and they never heard of an organization using the symbol of a crescent moon and a star.
I suppose they just jumped us for the exercise, huh?
They started to tell the usual story. They were minding their own business, and you fellas came along and said something that started a fight. We soon wired that up, though. And then they admitted they'd been hired to beat you up.
To kill us, you mean? They had guns.
Who hired them, Inspector?
They say they never saw the man before. He met 2 of them at a bar, described you, told them you'd be passing the dock, and gave them $500 to give you the works.
That's a lie.
Maybe. But we can't prove it.
By the way, Inspector, I suppose you examined the men thoroughly?
Of course. Why do you ask, Kent?
Well, I was just wondering if any of them had the crescent and star branded on his heel, like the Arab I caught in Sidney's apartment.
That's right. How about it, Inspector?
Don't worry. I looked them over myself. Nothing doing.
Shucks. But I still say they're lying.
No, I think they're telling the truth, Robin.
Huh?
What do you mean, Kent?
Just this, Batman. If it was the leader of the Crescent and Star who ordered you and Robin wiped out...
Who else could it have been?
Well, you have plenty of other enemies, haven't you?
Yes, but I'm sure they didn't spot us in the waterfront tonight. Besides, we were disguised.
They might have been trailing you. But anyway, let's assume it was the leader or leaders of the Crescent and Star, and I'm inclined to think it was. Now, we know they're clever and very careful to keep their identity secret. So it stands to reason they wouldn't let these hired gunmen know who they are or anything about them, doesn't it?
How about the Arab you caught, Kent? He had the brand on his heel and committed suicide before we could question him. So he must have known about them.
Well, the chances are the guys we're looking for didn't have time to send their own men tonight or didn't have any available on such short notice. Or maybe after what happened to the Arab, they might have just preferred to play safe and use outsiders.
I think you're right, Kent.
Oh, Kent's always right, confound it. I want to be around just one time when he's wrong.
Oh, I've been wrong plenty of times, Inspector.
And it looks like Batman and I scored a great big goose egg tonight.
Oh, no, you didn't, Robin.
Well, what do you mean we didn't?
You made a very important discovery, which should lead us to the people we're looking for.
Huh?
What?
What discovery, Kent?
Well, I don't know exactly what it is yet, but if you'll drive back to the waterfront with me, I'll find it for you within 10 minutes.
Are you kidding?
I was never more serious in my life.
Then what are we waiting for? Come on, Robin, let's go, Inspector.
I can't leave now. I've got a lineup.
We'll call you later, then. Lead the way, Kent.
Okay.
Step on it, Robin.
Leaving police headquarters, Clark Kent, Batman, and Robin hurry out to Kent's car parked at the curb. What did Kent mean? What important discovery did Batman and Robin make? We'll return in a moment for the tense climax of today's episode. But first, here again is your announcer.
Say, I happened to pass the schoolyard the other day when Eddie and a bunch of his pals were swapping duplicate comic buttons, from packages of Kellogg's Pep. Well, the conversation they were carrying on would sound mighty funny to anyone who didn't know about these swell new comic buttons. Like, one young fellow would say, "Trade you Uncle Walt for Orphan Annie," and another'd come in, "I'll take that, and I have 2 Superman buttons. Who wants to swap?" Then another'd say, "What'll you offer for a Skeezix?" Now, maybe that sounds like double talk, but it means a lot to you fellows and girls who are collecting these exciting comic buttons, because you're all mighty anxious to collect all 18 buttons in the series. And they're so doggone smart-looking that, well, you get a real kick out of wearing them pinned on your jacket or your dress or cap. But the best part is, they're so easy to get. You don't send in a single penny, not even a box top, and you can't even buy them anywhere. All you do is to ask Mom to get you plenty of that super delicious whole wheat flake cereal, Kellogg's Pep. Then, see which prize you find inside. One of these exciting comic buttons, or a military insignia or warplane button. It's an exclusive prize for you from P.E.P. Pep, made by Kellogg's of Battle Creek. Now, back to the adventures of Superman.
stating that Batman and Robin had made an important discovery and that he would show it to them within 10 minutes, Clark Kent drove them back to the mass of rotting pilings on the dark, fog-swept waterfront where they had first contacted the informer, Squealy Evers.
It was right here that we met Squealy, Kent.
Uh-huh. Okay. Which way did he go when he left you?
Straight up the street.
Right. Here we go.
Where?
I want to follow his trail exactly as you did. I'll drive slowly. You tell me what turns to make, Batman.
What's the idea, Mr. Kent?
At some point, Robin, Squealy contacted somebody who had those goons sent to the docks to ambush you, or else Mr. Somebody passed on the information to someone else who sent the goons out.
But he didn't contact anyone. We were right behind him all the time. He was never out of our sight.
Except for the minute or so we stripped down to our costumes.
He must have contacted someone. If he'd steered you into those mobsters by accident, he'd have been caught, too.
It's my hunch that he left a note somewhere. Maybe in some pilings where someone was waiting and we didn't notice it in the fog. Oh, I admit it's not too good a hunch. Wait a minute.
What?
Of course, we were dumb, Robin.
How come?
The coffee shop.
What coffee shop?
Squealy stopped in the coffee shop for a crawler and a cup of java. It must have been there.
But we were watching him every second. He didn't sit next to anybody. He didn't make a phone call. He didn't write any notes, and he didn't talk to anyone.
Oh, no? How about the waiter?
Christopher Columbus, I never thought of that.
Uh-huh. Now we're getting someplace. That's what I meant when I said I'd show you the discovery you made. You weren't aware of it at the time. Where is this coffee shop?
Up the street, just a couple of blocks.
Right. You tell me where to stop.
You bet.
Oh, it must have been the waiter. He was only near Squealy for a few seconds, but that was enough to get the tip off. Step on it, Kent.
I am. Just keep your fingers crossed that the waiter didn't disappear like Squealy did.
Jamming his foot down on the accelerator, Clark Kent sends the car leaping through the foggy night toward the shabby little coffee shop. Is the waiter still there? And if he is, can he be forced to reveal the identity of whoever is behind the mysterious crescent and star? Tomorrow's episode is packed with thrills and excitement, fellows and girls, so don't miss it. Tune in, same time, same station, as the famous Batman and Robin join forces with the Man of Steel in the adventures of Superman.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Fellows and girls, be sure to follow the adventures of Superman, brought to you every day, Monday through Friday, same time, same station, by the grand old Kellogg Company of Battle Creek. And for other thrilling adventures of Superman, see your local newspaper. Superman is also a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC publications. Say, gang, here's some razzle-dazzle news to flash to Mom. Kellogg's Variety is back. So now, everybody at the breakfast table can have the Kellogg's cereal he likes best. For Kellogg's Variety is that grand variety carton holding 10 generous packages of 6 favorite Kellogg's cereals. Are they delicious? And does Kellogg's Variety make breakfast fun? Why, it's better than a grab bag because you get what you really want. Today, ask Mom to get Kellogg's Variety, the package that makes breakfast a picnic. And be sure to be with us tomorrow for the thrilling adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Drifting on the glossy surface of a burning tropical sea, trapped aboard a flimsy raft, with 3 murderous companions from whom you cannot escape.
We offer you Escape, designed to free you from the 4 walls of today for a half hour of high adventure. Tonight, we take you to New Caledonia in the South Pacific, not far from the town of Noumea, a French penal colony as notorious as Devil's Island. And a trip that staggers the imagination, as John Russell told it in his gripping tale, The Fourth Man. The raft stood to open sea. A mat of bandanas leaves served for its sail and a paddle of wood for its helm. Its flooring was woven of reeds and bamboo sticks and rested on triple rows of bladders. It was light,
elastic, fit to ride any weather. And it carried 4 men. 3 of them sat huddled together at the far end. Their bodies were blackened with dried blood. The hair upon them was long and matted. They wore only the rags of convicts' blue canvas uniforms. On wrist and ankle, they carried their mark, the dark, wrinkled stain of the manacles. They were DuBose, doctor, leader, man of the world, murderer.
Friends, the thing is done.
And Fenneru, forger, ladies' man, weakling, coward.
Yes, we got away all right.
And the one known as the Parrot, thief and cutthroat.
So far, so good.
And by way of celebration, gentlemen, may I offer you cigarettes?
Cigarettes? Oh, Doctor, you are a marvel, a magician. Oh, look at them, white and fresh as though they had just come from the package.
How did you do it?
Every 6 months there are about 75 escapes from Noumea. Not more than one succeeds. Ours would be that one, I knew. So 3 weeks ago, I bribed the night guard for these very cigarettes so that we might sit here, my friends, as we are doing, and celebrate.
I want a light.
A light for the Parrot.
Doctor, the wonder. he thinks of everything. He gives us cigarettes, matches, and our freedom.
Wait till you've got your 2 feet on the pavement again. That will be the time to talk about freedom.
Oh, to wear starched collars again. To stroll with a girl, clean and fresh from her bath, down the Place de la Concorde, the Rue de
Suppose we get a storm.
It's not the season of storms.
Just the same. Suppose we get a storm.
Delicate, my friend. You must not be so impatient. We were convicts back there, festering in oblivion. Now we stand on the rosy threshold of the big round world again. We are men raised from the dead.
Suppose we get a storm. You've got the gift for speech, Doctor. But where is the ship that was going to meet us here?
This is the day as agreed. It will meet us.
This wind will blow us to China if we keep on.
We can't fly any closer to shore. Don't forget there's a government launch at Torian. I doubt if the native trackers have given us up.
Careful, Parrot. They'll eat you yet.
I have heard about that. Is it true, Doctor, that the natives keep all the runaways they can capture to fatten on?
They prefer the reward. Still, I doubt if they've entirely lost the habit of cannibalism.
Piece by piece, Parrot. First, they'll sample you, and then they'll make a stew of your brains. They won't miss a thing.
The filthy brutes.
I almost forgot. We have one of them with us.
The 4th man was steering the raft. He sat crouched in the stern, his huge dark hands holding the steering paddle. He was motionless, like an idol, his eyes on the empty sea. The 4th man on the raft.
You are looking at a Kanak, my friend. You will see nothing superior, no line of beauty to redeem the low angle of the forehead, the knobby joints of the body. Nature has stamped him with the mark of inferiority. He set the final seal himself, with that twist of bark about his middle and that prong of pig ivory through his nose.
Nonetheless, he is a man, and there's a price on our heads. He could be taking us where he likes.
Calm yourself, Fenneru. This is a very simple animal, an infant, really.
Does that mean he couldn't double-cross us?
It does. He's bound by his duty. I made my bargain with his chief up the river. And this one is sent to deliver us on board our ship. That's the only interest he has in us.
And he'll do it?
He will. That is the nature of the native.
I don't trust him. Not for a minute.
The brute. The animal. You! It's you I'm talking about, you filthy brute.
Save your breath, Harris. He speaks no language, only a few noises, a few signs.
I don't feel right on the same raft with that.
Me? I just stretch out a little under these mats.
Yes, we should all sleep a little, conserve ourselves. When we awake, she'll be there, the ship, our saucy little topsail schooner, her mast standing out against the sky. We'll be on our way to France. Sleep, my friend.
The two younger convicts dozed under the heat of the day, but not Dr. DuBose. He stood once again to sweep the skyline under his shaded hat. His plan had been so careful, so precise. He had counted absolutely on meeting the ship. A small schooner, one of those flitting, half-piratical freighters of the Copra Islands that can be hired like cabs in a dark street for any sinister enterprise. But there was no ship, and there was no crossroads where one might sit and wait.
Good morning, Doctor.
It's afternoon.
Yes, it is. I slept like a corpse.
And where is the ship, Doctor? It was going to be there when we woke.
I'm thirsty. Dying with thirst.
So are we all, Fennery.
Where's the flask? I'm roasted in the sun.
We'll have to roast some more. This crew is put on rations.
What are you talking about? Where is that water?
I have it here.
Just so you have. You think it is yours?
It is ours, Parrot.
I want a drink, Doctor.
Think a little, Parrot. Now, we have to guard our supplies like reasonable men. Don't know how long we may be floating here.
So that's how you talk now. You don't know how long. But you were sure enough when we started.
I am still sure the ship will come. She cannot stay for us in one spot. She'll be cruising to and fro until she intercepts us. We must wait.
That's good. Wait. And in the meantime, what? Fry here in this heat, our tongues hanging out while you deal us out drop by drop. No, the man does not live who can feed me with a spoon. You stop. But you're in this too, General, with this captain who thinks of everything and still puts to sea without provisions. Go on, laugh again.
I wasn't laughing, Parrot. True. It's a bad piece of work for a captain of runaway.
Unless you would die very speedily, we must guard our water.
And whose fault is it?
Mine. I admit it. What then? Here we are, and here we'll stay. Only do our best with what we have.
All right, Doctor. Do your best. Give me a drink.
You may have your share, of course. Be warned. When it's gone, don't come to us, to Fennery and me.
What is fair is fair.
My drink.
Very well.
A thimbleful. One thimble.
This way, we should have enough for 3 days, maybe more. With equal shares among the three of us.
Yes, that's right. There are only 3 of us.
Were you thinking of him, Fennery, of our pilot? He looks somewhat like us, doesn't he? But his body has never known clothes or his feet shoes. His mind has never known a single thought. Look at us 3, gentlemen. You, Fennery, a forger. You, Parrot, a thief. I, Dr. DuBose, a murderer. Yet we are civilized men. This is a savage animal. Our provisions are only for men.
return to the second act of Escape and tonight's story, The Fourth Man.
Three men awoke to their second day on the raft. They looked, saw the far round horizon, the empty desert of the sea, and their own shadows that slipped slowly before them over its smooth, slow heaving. The land had sunk away from them in the night. The trap had been sprung. As the savage sun kindled upon them with the power of a burning glass, a calm death, an absolute calm. The air hung waiting. The sea heaved and fell in polished undulations, and the sun shone. They crawled to the shelter of their mats, gasping and shriveling, while the fourth man, the savage, the beast, sat silent and unmoving. The water, the world of water, was black, thick as oil.
How lonely it is. Dr. Dubois, where is your ship? Your saucy little schooner. Those were your words. Well, where is it?
It will come. Suppose your friends leave you to rot here, Doctor. Leave Parrot and me to rot here. That would be a joke, eh, Doctor? To wait for a ship that will never come.
Will come. My friends will not fail me.
Why? How do you know? How can you be so sure?
There is a safety vault in Paris full of papers to be opened at my death. Those papers contain confessions. No, gentlemen, no. My friends will come. They will come. That savage Kanak.
Huh? What?
He does not join us. He does not look at us. He sits on his heels in the way of the native with his arms hugging his knees. He sits at the stern, motionless under the shattering sun, gazing out into vacancy. Whenever I raise my eyes, I see nothing else, only this Kanak.
He seems to be enjoying himself quite well.
Yes, I was thinking so myself.
Cannibal. The savage.
He doesn't seem to suffer.
How does he do it? Has he no feelings?
Been wondering. Maybe that his fibers are tougher.
We have had water, and he has not.
And yet, see? His skin is fresh and moist.
His belly fat as a football. Don't tell me the savage is thirsty. Is there any way he could steal our supplies?
Certainly not.
Suppose he has his own supplies hidden.
What?
We'll see. Search the raft. Look under the mat.
No, there's nothing here.
You were mistaken. He has nothing hidden.
You are wrong about him, Doctor. When you say he has no understanding, there is one thing he knows and knows well. Pain!
Howard! Don't hit me. Howard, stop.
There. Scum. That will teach you. Not so chipper now, are you? Not so happy with your luck. That will make you feel...
Come back, my friends. Back under the mat. The glare of the sun is not so bad there.
So the days dragged by, the second, the third, and now it was the fourth day. Until there was no breeze, until there was no ship.
Doctor.
Yes?
What do you stare at?
Savage. Look at him. Look at us. We are dying. Our powers are ebbing.
Him.
Naked, wild, brutish. He is yet to give the slightest sign of complaint to we.
Yes. Yes, it's
Oh. Night he stretches out and sleeps. Through those long hours when we wrestle and fight with despair, he sleeps like a child. Then in the morning, he resumes his place aft unchanged, fixed. A growing wonder.
Doctor, is this a man or a fiend?
A man. He's a man.
No, a miracle.
No, he's a man. A very poor and wretched example of a man. You'll find no lower type anywhere. Look at his cranial angle, the high ears. Heavy bones, his skull is scarcely above an 8.
Then what?
He has a secret.
Secret?
But we see him. Every move he makes, every minute. What chance has he for a secret?
What kind of secret?
Oh, I can't say. Perhaps some method of breathing, some strange posture he uses to keep the sensations in the body. Such things are known among primitive people. Who knows?
We can know. We can find out.
Ask him. It's useless. He will not tell. Why should he? We scorn him. We give him no share with us. We abuse him. So he falls back on his own expedience. He remains silent as he always has been, as he always will be. He never tells the secrets. They are the means by which he has survived from the depths of time, by which he yet may survive when all our wisdom is done.
There are a number of ways of learning secrets. I know them all.
It's useless. He'd stand any torture you might grant. Saw how he behaved before. No, that's not the way.
Talk. I am tired of all this talk. Kill him and throw him over. Let's be rid of this thing.
We gain nothing.
Then what do you want?
To win. That's what I want. To win. To beat him at the game. For our own sakes. For our own racial pride, we must. To outlast him. Prove to ourselves we are his masters. Be better. Brains, by better organization and control. Watch him. Watch him, my friends. So we can trap him. So we can find out and defeat him in the end.
Watch. I'll watch, all right. You old windbag. I am not sleeping anymore and leave you alone with that bottle.
Bottle? I've been meaning to discuss our rations with you.
Have you?
They're running very short. I'm afraid we must take a cut again.
And what are we down to now, Doctor?
Half a thimbleful.
No.
We must keep our wits.
I say no.
And we'll put it to a vote. You say no, I say yes. Then
Yes. Anything but give me mine now.
Then it's a half thimbleful for Monsieur Fenelon. Your share, Fenelon.
More, or I'll die. More.
No more.
You must. Doctor.
More today.
Look. A ship.
Where is it? Doctor. The bottle. Yes, the bottle. He's drinking.
Look at him. You killed him with that oar.
What about the bottle?
There's some left. You caught it just in time.
And you caught the bottle just in time.
It seems I did.
And there is no ship. There will be no ship. We are done. Because of you and your dirty promises that brought us here. Doctor, liar, fool.
Don't come any closer. Unless you want this bottle broken over your head.
No, I wouldn't want that.
Think, Paris, why should you and I fight? We can see this trouble through and win yet.
Yes.
Is this where the God lasts forever? Have you Besides, there will be only two of us to divide the water now.
Yes. It is true, isn't it? Feneru kindly leaves us his share, an inheritance. All right. I take mine now. My share. Right now, if you please. Later we will see.
So be it. Here. Your share.
Many thanks. And now, Feneru's share. To me, please.
As you say.
And now, another good doctor.
3. And that's enough, Parrot.
No, doctor. Is not enough. Now I take the rest.
My arm!
Your arm, I'll kill you if you don't. Thank you. You see, I have manners, haven't I? And I have wisdom, too. Because I fooled a very wise man. I toast you, doctor. The best man wins. That was a bright idea. The best.
The best man wins, Parrot. You forgot I'm a doctor, didn't you? The water you would kill for has killed you. Man cannot go without water for 4 days and drink his fill and still live. Go on, Parrot, gasp out your worthless life while I laugh. The best man always wins, Parrot. The best man.
The best man wins. Yes, doctor.
Hello, you
forgot my knife, didn't you? My knife.
Forgot me lying at your feet while you divided my share of the water. Gave me up for dead, did you? But I see now who will outlast the two of you. Stay now. The best man always wins. You fool! The water. It's running out. Parrot.
All the time, not 10 miles away from us.
Oh, that's calm. That's a misfortune. Well, where are they, the passengers?
They're all dead. One is stabbed to death, another is skull crushed, the other fried by the sun. All dead.
Well, then, all the better. They'll cost nothing to feed.
But how?
Hogsheads, my friend. The hogsheads in the afterhold. Fill them nicely with brine, and there we are.
I do not understand.
You're dull, Marteau, very dull. The gentleman's passages are all paid before we left Sydney. I contracted to bring back 3 escaped convicts. Well, I'll bring them back in pickle. So, you'll go back, Marteau, and bring them aboard for the trip. I'll be much obliged.
Very well. There is a 4th man under half Captain a Canuck, still alive. What will we do with him?
Canuck? There's no word in my contract about any Canuck. Leave him there. He's only a savage.
And so Dr. DeBolt and Fenero and the Parrot went aboard aboard for the long trip to their beloved Paris. Their bodies pitching and rolling gently in the huge vats of brine. On the raft, the fourth man raised his head slightly as the wind freshened from the west. He watched until the schooner turned, shaping away for Australia. Then he spread his sail of pandanus leaves and headed the raft eastward, back toward New Caledonia, back toward home. Feeling somewhat dry after his exertion, the native plucked a hollow reed at random from the rushes on his raft. Slowly, lazily, he stretched himself at full length in his accustomed place at the stern. He thrust the reed down into one of the bladders underneath the raft and drank his fill of sweet water. He had a dozen such storage bladders remaining, built into the float at intervals above the waterline. Quite enough to last him safely home.
Escape is produced and directed by Norman McDonald. Tonight we have presented The Fourth Man by John Russell, adapted for radio by Irving Ravech and narrated by Larry Dobkin. Featured in the cast were Joseph Kearns, Ben Wright, and Barney Phillips, with Jack Crucian and Wilms Herbert. Special music arranged and conducted by Wilbur Hatch. Be sure to tune in at the same time next week when once again we offer you Escape. Suspense, which is usually heard at this hour on Thursday nights, is taking its customary summer holiday. Suspense returns to the air 7 weeks from tonight on Thursday, September 1st.
You are deep in the remote hill country of Afghan, face to face with the fierce Pathan warriors, trapped into a hopeless fight from which there seems no escape.
We offer you Escape, designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure. Tonight, we escape to the north of India and to a battle long remembered, as Rudyard Kipling described it in his famous story, The Drums of the Fore and Aft.
When I came out from England to serve as a news correspondent with the British troops on the northwest frontier of India, I was attached to a regiment known as the Fore and Fifth, Princess Hohenzollerns own Royal Light Infantry. Fore and Fifth. But now, behind their backs, men call them the Fore and Aft. When certain words are shouted in front of other barracks, the troops may come out with belts and fists. But the mere whisper of Fore and Aft brings out the men of this regiment with rifles in their hands and murder in their eyes. I think perhaps the story of how the Fore and Aft got its name may be really more the story of Jakin and Piggy Lou, two of the toughest and most lovable little monsters who ever banged a drum or tooted a pipe in a military band. They were both about the same age, with curly hair and the faces of cherubs, and inside were two souls that should have belonged to a pair of devils. I must have seen them before, of course. But the first occasion I can recall was at an informal court the colonel was holding in the orderly room one morning. Piggy and Jakin were there, and they were in trouble, as usual.
All right, Sergeant. Read the charges.
Yes, sir. The charge is made by one Smithers, a civilian, that while walking back of the bazaar at 6 p.m. last evening, he was set upon without provocation by two drummers from the regimental band known as Jakin and Peggy Lou, and by them was beaten into near insensibility.
Well, go on, Sergeant.
Mr. Smithers states further that he was struck down by the two defendants, and while lying on the ground was kicked repeatedly in the face and ribs, escaping with his life only through the timely arrival of a detachment of the guard. That's all, sir.
Well, what about it? Jakin? Piggy? Is this the truth?
Oh, yes, sir. We gave him what for, all right.
That will do, Piggy.
Yes, sir.
All right, Sergeant. Turn them over to the bandmaster and have him tan their hides.
Yes, sir. Come on, you.
Wait a minute. Begging your pardon, sir, but can't we say nothing in our own defence?
What if a bloomin' civilian said he'd report you for having a bit of a barney with a friend? Suppose he tried to get money out of you, sir, and then he was...
That will do, Piggy. You were fighting.
Well, only between ourselves, sir. That doesn't count.
We can't have no blinking civilians interfering with the business of Our Majesty's regiment.
All right. We forget the burden. But you're both confined to quarters for 3 days.
Oh, but, sir...
All right. Dismissed. And throw away that pipe when you get outside, Piggy. You're too young to be smoking.
Yes, sir. Come on.
Confounded Kipling. I don't know what to do with the lads. They're not really bad at heart, and they've never known any home with the army.
Where do they come from, Colonel?
Jakin is from some back street in London, and Piggy Lou is straight off the Calcutta dock. And in both cases, ancestry unknown.
Well, they seem loyal enough to the regiment, at any rate.
They are, and loyal to each other in their own way. I'm inclined to think sometimes they've got more real spirit than all these new regulars put together.
Aren't you a bit overloaded with green troops, Colonel?
Overloaded? My dear fella, 90% of the regiment were in Manchester factories or Lancashire farms 6 months ago. Can't make a soldier that length of time.
Any chance of action very soon?
Between ourselves, Kipling, we'll probably move north in about 10 days. Oh, no, not to the front, of course. We'll give them a few months to shake down before they go into action.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, it's the only thing to do. There's one thing certain. This regiment is not ready for action yet. Only, don't write that back to your paper.
But the gods who govern armies seldom choose the wisest plan. On the Afghan border, a large force of Pathan guerrillas began massing near the Khyber Valley, being held in check temporarily by a regiment of Highlanders and a regiment of native Gurkhas. A week later, the Fore and Aft, a regiment totally unprepared for action, was ordered to march north, contact the two regiments, and carry out a joint action to disperse the enemy. Parade ground and barracks began to hum with preparations for the coming campaign. Privates walked with a new swagger, and the young officers nearly shot one another at pistol practice. But to Piggy and Jakin, the excitement was like salt in an open wound. For the band was reduced to 20 men, and the drummer boys were being left behind.
Blimey, I won't let him do it to me, Jakin. Me, what's going to have a career in the army, being left behind like an old boot.
Oh, why should you worry? Now you can stay here with that blooming girl of yours.
Oh, what's a girl when the regiment's going to the front? And besides, how am I to explain to her about being left behind with the women?
What do you have to explain anything to her for? She's only 13.
I've been telling her I'd get myself a medal when the first campaign came along, and how am I to do it now?
I heard in the barracks they're going to take Tom Kidd along. He's to be the bugler. Of course, he's 18, though.
He may be 18, but I can plaster the wall with him any day, and with one hand behind my back.
Perhaps we could bash him round a bit. Oh, just enough so as he can't bugle no more. You could hold his hands, Piggy, and then I'll kick him in.
No. He still wouldn't take us. Our reputations ain't what they might be, you know.
Yeah. Oh, well, for myself, I'd just as lief stay here and do a bit of loafing.
With our own regiment going into action, why, I'd as lief have my...
Oh, look who's coming. It's the blooming Colonel himself.
And so it is, all alone. You know, Jakin, my boy,
I think I'll go and have a little talk with the Colonel. You wait here. Have you gone daft with him? Yeah, catch my pipe. Blimey, now we're in for it again. Begging the Colonel's pardon, sir.
What was it? Well, Piggy, the drum's in revolt.
No, sir. I'd like the pleasure of a word with you, sir.
All right. Go ahead and have it.
Well, sir, if you thought the world and all of your regiment, and it was going off to active service without you, sir, then how'd you feel?
I'm afraid I feel a bit left out of things.
Well, that's how Jakin and me feels about it, sir.
You've no idea what a campaign can be like, Piggy. Why, you'd flop in your face in the first 20 miles.
Oh, no, we wouldn't, sir. We're good at marching. I'll tell my girl I'd bring her back a medal. I've just got to go.
I see. Think you could pass the physical?
Not the slightest doubt of it, sir. We're both of us very healthy for our age.
All right. I suppose it's unheard of for a regiment on the border to take drummers along on active service. But if you can pass the medical officer, you can both go along.
Oh, blimey! We're going to the front! Oh, I mean, thank you, sir. Jakin!
The regiment marched out of the station 2 days later, and all those left behind lined the road that led past the parade ground. The band stood by and played them out, waiting to fall in at the rear of the column. And although Jakin perspired and beat on his drum manfully to cover up, it was quite evident that Piggy Lou was not with the band. Jakin kept glancing at the cedar hedge behind him, and I had a pretty good idea why Piggy was being detained.
You've got to be awful careful and take real good care of yourself, Peggy. You're so venturesome. I worry all the time.
It's hard, Chris. I'll grant you it's hard, but what's a man to do when his regiment's called on active service now? Yeah. Give us another kiss.
Oh, Peggy.
That's more like it.
If you'd have stayed here like you'd ought to, you could have had as many as you wanted.
And if I'd done that, Chris, you wouldn't think anything of me.
Like as not, but, well, at least I'd have had you with me, Peggy. And all the thinking in the world ain't like kissing.
And all the kissing in the world ain't like having a medal to wear on the front of your coat.
Oh, who cares about a medal? Just stay with me, Peggy, darling, and I'll love you true forever.
Well, aren't you going to do that anyhow, Chris? You said you were.
Oh, of course I am, but it'd be lots more comfortable if you stayed here.
Don't take on about it, Chris. I'll be coming back, and I'll marry you someday, too. I promise.
Oh, but when? Years and years, perhaps. You'll be careful, won't you, Peggy?
Man has to take his chances in the army, Chris, but if it happens, I'll be thinking of you right to the last.
Oh, don't talk like that.
Oh, now, here. Give us a kiss. Piggy, come on over here. We're about to fall in. I've got to go now, Chris, my love. Don't you be forgetting me.
Oh, I won't ever, Piggy. Yeah, I made something for you to take with you.
What is it?
It's a button bag. All the regular soldiers carry them. I put some of me air in it.
No, it's awful kind of you, Chris.
Oh, it ain't made so well, but I didn't want nobody else to help me, not even Mum.
I'll carry it right over my heart, so long as I'm alive.
Oh, don't say things like that.
Piggy, come on. Give us one more kiss now. I can't stay no longer.
Oh, Piggy.
Goodbye, Chris. Take care of yourself.
Goodbye, Piggy. Be careful. Oh, be careful.
I'll be coming round to see you, Chris, my love, when I get back from the war.
Oh, Piggy.
Well, it's about time. And luckily we're not both in trouble. Here, stick this blinking pipe in your ugly mouth and blow on it. Petticoat chaser.
Just beat your drum, soldier, before I decide to beat on your ruddy head a bit. Tell the colonel he can shove off now.
A great hour on CBS Friday night is This is Broadway. Rising stars bring you their top acts and their problems for the future to Clifton Fadiman, Abe Burrows, and George S. Kaufman, 3 show business experts ready with advice. Be sure to hear This is Broadway tomorrow night and every Friday night on most of these same CBS stations. And now, we return to the second act of Escape, and tonight's story, Drums of the Fore and Aft.
And so the Fore and Aft went north to the wars, first by troop train and then on foot, when the last railhead left them with a 7-day route march before they'd reach the front up ahead. And during those 7 weary days, the regiment began to crack. The men went hardened to the long miles of marching, and they found themselves dead tired before noon of each day. The food was bad, and the water was worse. And on the second day, the snipers started in. They would hide in the tumble rocks of the low brown hills beside the road and wait for the column to pass. The first sign of one would be a flash and a puff of smoke, and some man on the long line of march would die without ever seeing the enemy who'd killed him. And even at night, the tired and nerve-shattered men could find no rest. If anything, the night hours in the dark tent were a good deal worse than the daylight hours on the dusty road.
Oh, shut up, Piggy. I've got to get myself some sleep.
As if I ain't marched just as far as you have. Oh, my feet, they're killing me.
Well, it serves you bloody well right for getting us into this. We could be back in the barracks now, living on the fat of the land.
And halfway to becoming musicians like us, no?
In which case, I'll be sleeping in a regular bed. And having some decent grub to eat for once.
I'm afraid you're not the army type, Jakin. You're not the army type, Jakin. Perhaps I shouldn't have talked my friend, the colonel, into letting you come
in there! I did say before I come in and take a belt to you.
Yes, sir. Yes. Don't have to go calling a blinking sergeant, sir.
There ain't no harm in it.
That's the left wing. Aim your chest!
That's another one of our sentries got himself killed in
Them patrols, they just can sneak up in the dark without making a sound. Then they take their bloody lawnmowers and slice them open as neat as you can.
Hold your fire till you see what you're shooting at.
I wonder what they look like, Piggy. Easier to turn.
What's it matter when we can't even carry rifles? I ask you now, Jason. Look at this in my hand. How's a man to get this out of metal when all he's got for a weapon is a bloomin' five?
Late afternoon of the 7th day, weary, savage, and sick, their uniforms dull and unclean, the Fore and Aft rendezvoused with the Highland Regiment.
Hey, lads, here comes the new regiment, the Fore and Aft.
The Fore and Aft, eh? And may I ask, what is it they're fit for?
Some of the men bore wounds, and some with stretcher cases. But the real casualty was the regimental morale. These raw recruits had marched out of their station in the south with the band playing, and somehow they'd imagined they might march gloriously into battle the same way. But no band played when they slogged to a stop at the brigade encampment.
Blimey! Look at them chaps over there wearing petticoats.
I'll lot you know. They're Islanders, me lad. And I've heard a man had best take no liberties with them.
Oh. Well, Piggy, you think we found the bloody war at last?
And what else? Ain't that a full-blown general over there talking to our colonel?
Had a bit of a rough time of it coming down, sir. My men have been rather mauled and no chance of a fair return. They only want to go someplace where they can see what's before them. I understand, Colonel. I wish I could let you have a few days to recover, but I simply can't spare you just now.
Oh, there'll be no need of it, sir. All we're wanting is one good night's rest.
I see. Well, you can pitch your camp next to the Highlanders, Colonel, and I suggest you call a general inspection before dark. We plan to attack the enemy position at dawn.
Very good, sir.
it's active service you wanted, Piggy, eh? And how much longer do you think they're going to keep us standing here with the bloody daylight barely coming over the hills?
Just take a look at them Pathans out there on the plain.
Must be 8 of them to one of us, right down the line.
It makes it that much easier to get a medal.
Now, how do you hope to get a medal? Maybe you're going to blow their bloody eardrums in with your little fife.
More like it. We'll not even have a chance to see how the beggars look. The band, as you might have heard, is going to wheel and retire when we reach them rocks out there, while the regular soldiers go in and attack the enemy.
Which, I might say, is exactly the way I plan it myself. I got no fondness for being sliced up like a leg of lamb.
Ah, you've got no spirit, Jakin.
Them as want spirit can have it. As for me, Oh, here we go, Piggy.
Right, y'all, Jakin. Ready now.
All right.
Watch yourself now, Jakin, and step lively. Just keep your eye on me, and I'll make a bloody hero out of you.
Only someone had blundered. Someone had misread an order. And the Fore and Aft moved out onto the plain to attack the enemy force alone.
The Fore and Aft moving out.
At the clump of rock, the band wheeled and halted and continued to play, while the rank opened to form a skirmish line and moved slowly ahead.
Oh, steady, laddies. We have no orders to move out, and therefore we'll stand fast anew. If the Fore and Aft wishes to fight like hogs, then
at 500 yards range from the enemy line, the regiment began firing at will. At will and wildly. In a few minutes, they'd thrown away half of their ammunition and blinded themselves with their own smoke. And farther out on the plain, the Afghan armies stood quietly, firing occasional, well-aimed bullets into the milling herd of green troops.
Brainless fools, they're bunching like a herd.
Suddenly, from the main body of the Afghan troops, a small band of about 50 Pathan warriors charged forward and fell upon the startled Englishmen. These were the Guards, the suicide squad, always thrown out ahead of the Afghan army before any main test of strength. Swinging their long, heavy knives, they struck the close packed British line.
In the name of heaven, God, they extend into open order.
The Fore and Aft wavered, reeling away from the vicious flashes of the murderous bone-handled knives, rallied for an instant and held, then broke, turned tail, and ran.
Will you look at them, laddies? They turn and run.
I might say they make better speed to the rear than they made to the fore.
They're anything but Fore and Aft now. More like it to call them the Fore and Aft.
It'll take them a long time to live that one down. That's the Fore and Aft.
The regiment took no thought for the wounded, for the men left behind. Nor did they stop until they'd jammed in the pass that led up to the hill. And the band, too, was carried along with them in their headlong flight. All the band, except 2 men.
Piggy, you think them bloody Pathan beggars can see us hiding here in the rock?
Oh, of course not.
Well, I hope you're right.
Bloomin' cowards, running away. Now, weren't that a fine way for a British regiment to act?
Had we done the same thing, we'd not be left behind here the way we are.
Now, what's got into you? You're comfortable, ain't you?
I may be comfortable, but I ain't easy in my mind.
Ah, put a sock in it. Hey, look, somebody's dropped a canteen there. Maybe it's got rum in it.
Well, now, how can you hope to tell by shaking it?
Here, now, keep your dirty hands off it. I'll do the trying it out.
Well, is it, Piggy? Is it?
No, it's water.
Oh.
Here, have yourself a free drink on Her Majesty, drummer boy. Jakin, look. What? Them Pathan beggars is starting back to their own lines. Hey, keep your head down.
Well, now with the blooming enemy retiring, perhaps our lads will come out and rescue him.
Not them, the bloody cowards.
Well, don't they know the Pathans ain't chasing them no more?
They can't see nothing but their own precious skins. Mo. Maybe we ought to give them a little music. Show them it's all nice and cozy out here now.
What? Do you want us to go and get our blinking selves shot?
Oh, they ain't no enemy close by now. Come on, Jakin. Take up your bloody drum there.
Here, are you positive there was only water in that canteen?
Oh. So life is not you're a coward too, the same as the rest of the regiment.
What? I'll show you who's a coward, Piggy, my boy. Here, take your blooming fife. There, and stick it in your ugly face.
Well, now, so you have got a bit of spirit. Maybe I'll speak to my old friend the Colonel about it.
Oh, shut up and start blowing. Are you ready?
Ready all? Now.
Where is it we're going to march to, Piggy?
Back in port a time or two in full sight. Then we'll wait in the rocks for the battle to start. Are they watching us?
Yeah, they're watching us. Oh, yes. They're watching us, all right.
Time held still, and even the Afghan snipers forgot their weapons, while two armies watched the tiny red-coated figures marching back and forth on the battlefield alone.
Aye, and I'll tell you for certain, there's a pair of brave laddies down there.
All right, you bleeding cowards! Look at them out there! Are them two children the only brave men in the regiment?
The men of the fore and aft lifted their heads, fingered their rifles, and stared without moving. And out there on the silent plain, back and forth marched Jakin and Piggy.
Have we had to play these blooming instruments all day long? Ain't the blighters ever going to come back?
Shut up, Jakin. Keep playing.
Well, all I might say is, I shouldn't have ever let you talk me into this. I ain't cut out for active service anyway. I should bloody well feel more comfortable if I was back in the barracks. I was
Jakin. Oh, you blinking heathen blighters! You've killed Jakin! All right, I'll show you who's afraid of you! Come on, you blooming coward!
Two armies saw them die from the sniper's bullets. Two armies and the men of the fore and aft.
All right, men of the regiment. What now? Those two at least were brave enough to know how to die.
Expand it! This time we attack, and there'll be no turning back!
Look at them, laddies. The fore and aft, they're going back to fight.
Aye, look at them run. That's how it should have been done the first time.
Aye, laddies, and now is the time for us. Orders don't know. Here's where we join the fight. Company, prepare to charge.
Late afternoon saw the Afghan army wiped out, and the general explained to me how everything had gone according to his plan, and how he hoped I'd cable that back to my paper in London right away. I turned and left him then, and walked across the silent battlefield, walked out among the silent dead. The two tiny figures lay quite close together, Jakin fallen across his broken drum, and Piggy Lou with the pipe still clenched in his dirty fist. A bulge under his tunic caught my eye, and I reached in and drew out a button bag, embroidered crudely with the name, Chris.
I made it for you myself, Piggy, darling. And I put some of my own hair inside of it.
I'll wear it right next to my heart, Chris, so long as I'm alive.
I thought how Chris would soon forget, and how the world's memory is no longer than hers. The sun was sinking away into the west. The button bag in my hand was soaked, damp, and over the left breast of Piggy's grimy uniform, over the pocket where decorations are usually worn, A brighter red stain had spread out through the coarse wool, looking very much like the bright red ribbon that goes with a nettle.
Escape is produced and directed by Norman MacDonald. Tonight we have presented Drums of the Fore and Aft by Rudyard Kipling, adapted for radio by Les Crutchfield. Featured in the cast were Ben Wright as Rudyard Kipling, Hugh Thomas as Piggy Lou, and Terry Kilburn as Jakin, with Colleen Collins, Ramsey Hill, Alec Harford, Wilms Herbert, and Tudor Owen. Special music arranged and conducted by Wilbur Hatch. Next week,
you are hanging by your fingertips on the sheer face of an ice cliff, suspended 1,000 feet above instant death, with your strength running out, and with no chance for escape.
Next week, we bring you an adventure tale, Action by C.E. Montague. Be sure to tune in at this same time next week when once again we offer you Escape. In just a few minutes, Casey, crime photographer, embarks upon another adventure with death. Tonight's adventure is called Crazy Like a Fox. Join crime photographer on most of these same CBS stations. Tip Corning speaking. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Nestle's Ever-Ready, the instant cocoa. Nestle's Quick for great chocolate milk. And Nestle's chocolate bars now present Space Patrol! High adventure in the wild, vast reaches of space. Missions of daring in the name of interplanetary justice. Travel into the future with Buzz Corey, Commander-in-Chief of the Space Patrol! In today's transcribed Space Patrol adventure, Buzz and Happy are on a strange planet 50,000 light years from the solar system. With their ship's water supply exhausted, they're kneeling beside a small lake to fill their canteens.
It's cool, sir. Fairly clear.
Fill the tester first, Hap. The water may be frozen.
Yes, sir. I'm so thirsty I can't... Hey, Commander, what was that?
Drop down, Happy. Someone's shooting at us.
Hey, somebody's coming over the rim of the crater. Down, I lay down. Oh, that was close.
Range, Hap. If you don't stop him, next time he'll get us.
Sure.
We'll return in just a moment with a thrilling story, The Realm of the Robots. It's hot stuff.
What's hot stuff?
Nestle's Ever-Ready Cocoa.
Hey, that's hot stuff.
Well, that's what I said. Nestle's Ever-Ready Cocoa is hot stuff.
Well, what are we arguing about?
Oh, Hap, stop mixing me up. There's no argument about Nestle's Ever-Ready because everybody agrees it makes the most wonderful cup of hot chocolate in the universe.
You said a mouthful, Captain Tufeld. Nestle's makes such a rich, chocolatey, delicious hot chocolate it's out of this world. And there's no mixing up either, because Nestle's Ever-Ready practically makes itself.
That's right. All you do is put 1, 2, 3 teaspoons of Nestle's Ever-Ready in your cup, add hot water, and it's made.
You don't have to add milk or sugar, because Nestle's is complete.
Yes, Nestle's has rich, whole milk and sugar already in it.
And you know something? What I like best about Nestle's is that sensational Nestle's flavor. There's nothing quite like it. It's real chocolatey, too. A terrific treat, any time of day or night.
Glad you mentioned that, Hap, because we always recommended hot chocolate made with Nestle's for a breakfast warm-up. But we also like to see Space Patrollers drink it at all their meals and snacks, too.
Now, what did you say was the name of this product?
Oh, Hap, you're kidding me again. You know it couldn't be anything but Nestle's Ever-Ready Cocoa.
In the bright red can. That's Nestle's, and it's hot stuff.
And now, today's Space Patrol adventure, The Realm of the Robots. Commander Corey and Cadet Happy are aboard the Terra 5 on a special mission of exploration to Orion 14, a star 50,000 light years from the solar system. United Planets astronomers believe they've detected traces of a super radioactive element in the spectrum of the remote star. With a hyperspace vector set for Orion 14, Buzz and Happy are now waiting for their ship to emerge from faster-than-light star drive into regular rocket drive.
We're coming out of star drive, Hap. Get ready for our first close-up of Orion 14.
Wow. A ball of bright hot fire.
Check the cosmic protective shield.
Right, Commander. No harmful rays are getting through, sir.
Good. I will set up the instruments and run a spectrographic test of the elements on Orion 14.
Mind if I get a drink of water first?
Go ahead and bring me one, Happy.
Yes, sir. Well, just looking at that ball of fire makes me thirsty. Uh-oh.
What's the matter?
The water supply. I forgot to check it before we left.
What do the gauges say?
Port tank, empty. Starboard tank, empty. Reserve tank, bone dry. There isn't enough water aboard for a hummingbird to gargle with.
Oh, how about the canteens and the field equipment locker?
I goofed again, sir. Remember you ordered the entire water system purified, the pipes and tanks cleaned out, and the field canteen sterilized?
Yes.
Well, everything's sterilized, all right. Sterilized and empty. It's all my fault, sir.
Blaming yourself won't solve the problem.
Well, there's only one way to solve it. It's to go back to the solar system. Oh, am I going to take a ribbing for this? 50,000 light years out in space, and I have to go back for a drink of water.
There's a chance we won't have to go back, Hap. There's a planet over there about 10 million DUs away. It may have water on it.
Yes, sir, but if it doesn't have water on it, we're in a worse spot than ever.
It's got an atmosphere, man. You can tell by the way the light and the stars diffused around it. Well, I changed vector. You set up the atmosphere testing equipment.
Decelerating as they approach the strange planet, Buzz scans the surface through the viewscope while Happy prepares to run a test of the atmosphere.
Well, it doesn't look very promising, Hap. Just mountains and desert so far.
Well, Commander, things are looking up. There's hydrogen in the atmosphere and some oxygen.
The ingredients of water, at least.
Yeah, but the vapor content is awfully low, sir. At least at this altitude.
We'll be sailing close to the surface, Hap. Any trace of poisonous gases?
None so far, sir.
Hap, look over there. What does that look like?
Smoke and rockets. If it isn't a mirage, it's a lake.
A lake, all right. Or else it's the first mirage that ever fooled a viewscope.
Yeah, that's the most beautiful sight I ever saw. As soon as we set down, I'm going to dive right in and not come up until I've drunk a gallon.
Oh, no, Hap. It's a small pool down inside a crater. Maybe poisonous. In fact, it may not be water at all, as you know. You get the test kit and 2 large canteens.
Yes, sir.
I'll set the ship down as close to the crater as I can.
After landing the ship on the strange planet, Buzz makes another careful sampling of the outside atmosphere before entering the airlock. Trying to conceal his impatience, Happy waits with 2 large, empty canteens strapped over his shoulders.
You're out there, breathable, Happy. We're going to find it very hot and dry.
I've got everything, sir. The test kit, the canteen.
Better fasten this to your belt.
Miniature space equipment.
That's a portable translator. For all we know, this planet may be inhabited. It might be considered enemy invaders. They could be caught down there at the lake if the spaceship comes in.
Yeah, that's right. If we hear any signals, we'll know that somebody might be looking for us.
Right. Okay, open the hatch.
Oh, am I thirsty?
Try not to think about it until we test the water. Close the inner hatch. We want to keep the ship's air cool. I'll open the outer hatch.
Oh, like an oven out there.
Let's make it a quick trip down the ladder.
Hey, this is desert, all right. Nothing but dry brush right up to the rim of the crater. It sure looks beautiful, like a mirror.
Yes, but it has no window or outlet. Let's make a test.
Here's the test kit, sir.
You give us a sample, sir.
Yes, sir. Hey, it's cooler than I thought it would be. And fairly clear.
It may be fed by an underground stream. All right, put the cap in the test tube and wait a full minute.
Yes, sir.
But believe me, this minute is going to seem like an hour.
Watch indicators, Hap. They'll tell us if it's water and if there's harmful bacteria.
Commander, what was that?
Stop at the ground, Hap. Somebody's shooting at us.
Someone's coming over the rim of the crater. Down to the left.
I see. I'll put a gun on the radar.
Oh, that was close. It splashed water in my face.
Next time you'll get us sure. Don't move your gun. Try to get him to talk. If we can tune in the translator correctly, maybe we can get him to listen to you.
Yes, sir. Commander, this may be the last thing I do, but I'm going to take a drink of water.
Be careful, Hap.
My face is almost in it. And, well, if I'm going to be shot anyway, why should I die thirsty?
Just moisten your mouth.
Okay.
Okay, easy.
Oh, I couldn't help it. It's wonderful. Sweet, cool water.
Still coming toward us. Lord is with us.
We're friends. We do not want to harm you.
Keep trying different settings in that translator. I'll try to keep him talking.
Put away your weapon. We're from the United Planets.
Sounds familiar. You understand anything?
No, sir.
I'm afraid I have made a mistake.
I've got it. Setting 97, Commander. We want to be friends. Please put away your weapon.
I am sorry I shot at you. I thought at first you were of the ARG. Oh, we're from a far distant world. We stopped here for water. So there are other worlds with human beings. I knew it. That's what I kept telling Anila. The ARG may be watching. For your own safety, slake your thirst and leave Gabon.
What's this ARG? Are they after you?
The ARG are the aberration rectifier group.
Huh? Commander, I think my translator's out of order.
Aberration is an error. Deviation from truth. Exactly. And the function of the ARG is to detect these aberrations correctly. I knew you weren't from the ARG when I saw you drink from the lake.
You mean the lake is poison or something?
No. The ARG do not drink water. They do not need water or food.
Huh? What kind of human beings are they?
They are not human beings. They're robots. Mechanical creations in the shape of human beings.
Well, if I'm not getting too personal, what are they after you for? You seem like a nice sort of guy.
The Z-type ARG are after me because, well, I don't like to conform. I like to invent new ways to do my work. I like to wander through the city as I choose.
This makes you an
aberration? Yes. So the robots of the aberration rectifier group automatically follow me. I couldn't stand it any longer, so I ran away from the city. But I'm sure the DRIG isn't far behind. What's your name? Mona. You haven't committed a crime, have you, Mona? Crime? Have you hurt anyone? You've taken something that belonged to another human being. No. I'm being hunted because I do not follow the exact life pattern that the robots have directed.
You mean most people on this planet obey the robots?
Yes. All but a very few. Most of the aberrationists are brought back into the line by the ARG.
Imagine being bossed by a bunch of Zards.
Zards?
Yeah. Z-A-R-G. Zards.
No. Reckon you'd go to be safe from the Zards this happy time. I'm on my way. You must go quickly. Get to your ship.
What's the matter?
The robot has seen us. Look, he's coming toward us on the south end of the rim. Come with us, Mono. No. The robot is after me. If you run to your ship immediately, it will not harm you.
What'll it do if it catches you?
Make me helpless with the immobilizer. You've got a weapon, the one you fired at us. It's useless. I used the last shot shooting at you. Then come on. Maybe we can get over to the rim before the robot can stop us. Let's go. Come on, Hap.
The robot's going farther down the rim of the crater.
We'll have to run faster. The robots are very swift.
It sure looks like a human being.
You'll know the difference if he gets close now.
We're not going to get close if we can help it. There's the ship. It's going to be tough running through that brush.
It'll be tough on the robot, too.
He's getting closer. Hey, what's that?
I don't know. A new weapon, I guess.
The brush is on fire. Smoking rockets, there's a wall of flame between us and the ship. The robot's got a heat ray. The Zard's closing in on us. We're trapped.
We'll return to Space Patrol in just a moment.
Say, Captain Truthbell, I just got my rocket cockpit. And boy, is it super.
You said it, Tony. The model of Commander Corey's XRC is the greatest thing we've ever offered space patrollers.
Let me tell about it, will you?
Sure, go ahead.
Dang, the rocket cockpit is a real-scale model of the actual Space Patrol project, Infinity. It's more than a foot high, almost 2 feet wide. It's brightly colored, metal-studded. It has moving parts, just like the real thing. You send and receive secret messages with the master code. They'll teach you a language only Space Patrollers can know. It fires a powerful atomic cannon. They're real secret. We govern the rocket mechanism with special gravity control handles. We set the special time computers to star drive. It takes you into the future centuries. Travels more than 100,000 miles an hour. Look through the big moving view scope. You see all the planets and their names, too. How would you like that?
Tony, it's my guess they'll like it fine. In fact, we hope that every single space patroller will send for a rocket cockpit for his very own.
Having a rocket cockpit is almost as good as having a real rocket ship, all your own. So get yours. It's real easy. Just send your name and address and 25 cents in coins, plus 2 wrappers from any size Nestle's chocolate bars to Nestle, Box 54, St. Louis, Missouri.
But, gang, send today so you'll be ready to receive Commander Corey's secret messages. That's your name and address and 25 cents in coin, plus 2 wrappers from any size Nestle's chocolate bars to Nestle, Box 54, St. Louis, Missouri. And now back to today's Space Patrol adventure, The Realm of the Robots. Buzz and Happy have landed on a strange planet near Orion 14 to obtain water. They were fired upon by an inhabitant of the planet who later explained he thought they were robots. The Space Patrollers soon learned that the planet Goldbergs is controlled by robots who keep the human population under constant surveillance. Suddenly, one of the human-like robots appears. Deciding to save their new friend Mono from capture by the mechanical men, Buzz and Happy race toward their spaceship. As they run through the dry brush, they suddenly find themselves facing a wall of flame.
Commander, we're cut off, and here comes the robot. Wants to take us alive, or it would have used that flame ray on us.
A few more steps and we'll be helpless.
With the immobilizer ray, you mean?
Yes.
Oh, look, over there to the left. The flames aren't very thick. Shield your faces and run through the fire. Sure, then the robot can't see us.
They can see through smoke.
No time to argue. If we break through the flame, we'll split up. We can confuse the robot. Maybe either Happy or I can reach the ship and get some weapons. Come on.
Stop. We're ordered to halt in the name of the Goldbergs control system.
The robot's got quite a set of pipes. Spread out. You can only chase one of us.
Stop. You are ordered to halt in the name of the Goldbergs control system.
Go on, Mono. Up the ladder into the ship.
Yes.
Halt. You cannot escape the ARG.
Commander, the robot's after your friend.
Run for the ship, Happy. Hurry.
Commander, wait for me.
Mono, that robot is made of metal, isn't it?
Yes.
You stay here at the hatch and help Happy aboard. I'm going forward and put on the magnetic repeller ray.
You are nearly within range of the immobilizer ray. Halt at once.
Somebody get a blaster, quick.
Hurry, Happy. Up the ladder. Give me your hand.
You have been warned.
Come on, Happy.
Oh, thanks, Mono. Let's close this hatch, quick. The robots are behind me.
The robot is now some distance away.
Smoking rockets, what happened? Lying on its back, 200 yards out there in the brush.
It suddenly flew backwards, so hit by a strong wind.
I used the magnetic repeller ray, Happy. Knocked the metal robot for a loop, but couldn't attack you. Oh, thanks, Commander. I thought I was finished for sure. Let's close the hatch and blast off before the Zog gets himself back into gear. Yes, sir. Up forward, everybody. Oh, while we were talking to Mono, I'd partly filled his canteen.
I can't get over it. Human beings mastering a robot. Remarkable.
Remarkable nothing. That's the way it should be. All right, stand by for blast off. Standing by, sir. Close ports.
Close ports.
Fire jets.
Fire jets.
Up, chipping away. All right, Mono. Where can we take you?
You mean you direct this ship just as you like? You can go anywhere you want?
Well, just about. Anywhere within the limits of the ship's power.
Amazing. No wonder.
You have space travel here in Goldbergs?
There are spaceships. But I never heard of human beings traveling in them. They blast off at intervals full of cargo and then return empty to our city spaceport.
Where do they go?
I don't know. It's been going on for generations.
Wait, somebody must have charge of the robots.
Don't you have a government, or at least a ruling class?
The robots are the ruling class.
How did they get to be? Who built the robots in the first place?
Nobody knows. In fact, very few human beings ever wonder about it. If they do, they do not speak their thoughts aloud.
Well, the Zards get them, is that it? Like the robot that was after us?
Yes. Few human beings have escaped from the cities. They live in groups of 4 or 5 on small farms. I was on my way to one of those farms when I saw you.
Tell us where it is, and we'll take you there.
That's very kind of you.
I can't see how people would let themselves get in that position. Unless they gave you a lot to eat and a lot of luxuries.
No, that's not the case. We're given only enough food to enable us to do the required work. There are no luxuries except for the administrators.
The administrators? Who are they?
A few highly skilled engineers who attend to the needs of the robot mechanism. The administrators replace defective parts in the computers.
I see. The administrators get extra food and luxuries, so they're satisfied to keep the robots in control.
That is right, Commander.
Sometime in the past, living, intelligent beings must have put those robots in charge of the planet.
Yeah, and once the system got rolling... Commander, look. The starboard viewscope.
A spaceship. Oh, no. Is that one of your Goldbergs ships?
Yes. They blast off from the city at regular intervals.
Do they have human pilots, or are they robot-controlled?
I'm not sure. I think they're robot-operated. Though with a human being at the controls, it might be too much temptation.
To escape from Goldbergs, you mean?
Yes.
Would you like to know where the ship's headed?
Do you know, Mono?
No. But there's no way to obtain information. If it does not directly concern your work, you do not ask questions.
What is your work? I mean, what did you do before you left the city?
I was a feeder in the document reclamation plant.
Huh?
When the records are no longer of any use, they were brought to the reclamation plant. I fed them into a vat where they were dissolved and later made into new paper.
Mono, did you ever examine any of those documents?
Yes. It is forbidden, but I have examined some of those documents before I threw them into the vat. I've even saved scraps of them.
What did you see in those documents?
The totals of what we produced, how much we had received. Only half of our wealth remains on the bond to be distributed among our people. The rest, well, I don't know where it goes.
If we follow that spaceship, maybe we'll find out.
I've already checked its vector, Commander.
Good. The robots rule Goldbergs. Now let's see who rules the robots.
Keeping the robot ship in the viewscope, Buzz trails it on its long, curved trajectory over the star Orion 14. Finally, another planet comes into view. And Happy, following the commander's instructions, runs a series of tests on the distant world.
Commander, I've got the periscope focused now. I can see a city on that planet, and the robot ship is coming in for a landing.
Let me look in. It's a big city, all right. But something's wrong. Those buildings are in ruins. There's no sign of activity anywhere.
Then why is the robot ship landing there?
This is incredible. Some horrible disaster struck that city. The buildings are smashed and gutted. The streets are choked with rubble.
Smoke and rockets.
Now, take a good look at those ruins now. What do you see?
A lot of weeds and brambles. And a lot of rubble is covered with something that looks like moss.
A living soul inside. The city was destroyed years ago, perhaps even a century.
But that robot ship is...
Take a look at the spaceport. The ship had just dumped its cargo. Now it's blasting off. Mono, I want you to see this. Look into the periscope.
Yes, ma'am. The whole area is stacked with supplies, mountains of them.
That's where half the wealth of your planet has been going for generations.
Right here, in the heart of this ruined city, and never used.
There's another robot ship in the viewscope, sir. Coming in with another cargo, I guess.
Yes, they'll keep coming for another 100 years unless the people of Goldbergs overthrow those robots.
Commander, when Mono gets this news back to the people, he'll be a real hero instead of a fugitive.
You don't understand, Happy. The Z-type robots, Zards as we call them, would silence me before I could speak.
Something sure ought to be done about it.
I can spread the word among those who have already escaped from the city. Perhaps in time we can build up an organization and eventually get the truth to the slaves of the robot.
You want us to take you to that farm you mentioned?
I'd appreciate it, Commander.
All right, Mono. Change back to Hap. We're returning to Goldbergs.
More than an hour later, the Terra 5 settles down in a forest clearing on the planet Goldbergs. As Buzz opens the outer hatch, he and Happy can see a small log hut set back among the trees.
Oh, Mono, you ought to be safe here.
At least I shall be free. And I can raise enough food for my own needs. There's a small spring behind the hut, so I'll have plenty of water. That reminds me. One full canteen of water will see us back to our own solar system. Of course, Commander. If one of you will come with me.
Have you stay here in the ship. Check the spacephone frequencies. There's a chance that the robot detectives may have seen our ship.
Yes, sir.
If you pick up anything that sounds like trouble, signal me. I'll set my miniature spacephone to emergency channel 5.
Okay, Commander. Goodbye, Mono, and good luck.
Thank you, Happy. And I hope we'll meet again when we human beings control our own destiny.
You'll conquer those robots, don't worry.
It's certainly nice and cool under these trees. Very peaceful. Take a minute. Something moving in front of the door.
Halt. By order of the Goldbergs control system.
There's another one.
Having trouble, Commander?
2 Zargs, Hap. Cut on the repeller ray.
Hope you're not out of range. Here goes.
We got one of them, Hap. The repeller ray smashed him against a tree trunk.
How about the other one?
He's still coming toward us.
That's not a robot. It's one of the administrators.
Cut the repeller ray, Hap, and stand by.
Yes, sir.
Stand right where you are. Both of you.
Better do as he says, Commander. The weapon he's holding could destroy both of us in a flash.
That is correct, Mona. I have every right to destroy you right now. You have committed the capital offense of harming the robot.
Mono had nothing to do with it. The robot was smashed by my order.
And who are you?
I'm from another solar system. I don't know anything about your laws here in Goldbergs, but I wrecked your robot in self-defense.
Self-defense? Huh? A human being has no right to resist a robot. The robots are the supreme authority of Goldbergs.
Yes? Who made them the supreme authority?
That does not matter. Anyone who would question the authority of a robot is an idiot and a criminal.
Mono says you're an administrator. Have you ever questioned a robot's decision?
No, never. I am Roknar, administrator of Class H functions of robot control. To suggest that I, Roknar, would question a robot is an insult.
Roknar, listen.
Silence! In a moment, this weapon in my hand will wipe you off the face of Goldbergs as though you never existed.
Hap.
Yes, sir?
Full repeller ray, a quick blast.
Commander, his gun is gone.
His metal. The repeller ray whipped it out of his hand. Now, Roknar.
No! I am an administrator!
Knocked him out.
Is everything all right, Commander?
Yes, Hap. As I fill this canteen, I'm bringing Mono back to the ship.
But Commander...
It isn't safe for you here. And you want to fight the robots, don't you?
Yes, of course.
Come on. Get out of here before Roknar comes to.
We're almost up to star drive velocity, Commander.
Fine, Hap. Don't look so sad, Mono. You'll be seeing Goldbergs again soon.
I was thinking of all those people. Generations of them, working endlessly, uselessly for nothing.
You'll find a way to bring them the truth, Mono. As soon as Happy and I report to our government, we'll bring you back to Goldbergs.
An action preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol adventure in just a moment.
Hi, Space Patrollers. Commander Corey here. As I promised, I've got a secret message for you. It's the Space Patrol password. Now, write it down. Then turn the right-hand master code dial on your rocket cockpit to each symbol. The actual letters appear in the little window. Now, here goes. E2, L5. That's E2, L5. Second word. N1, O12, L5. T18, E20. Repeat. N1, O12, L5, T18, E20. Now you have the official password. You can have so much more fun with your rocket cockpit. It's equipped with moving stratoviewer, speed controls, secret star drive mechanism, and sensational working atom cannons. Now, don't miss out on all the fun. Write for your rocket cockpit today, before the offer expires. Send your name and address and 25 cents in coin, along with 2 wrappers from any size Nestle's chocolate bars to Nestle, Box 54, St. Louis, Missouri. That's Box 54, St. Louis, Missouri. And now, a preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol adventure. Buzz and Happy are walking across the spaceport of a deserted, ruined city on the planet Wormbuck.
Hap, look up there, Hap. The end of that big stack of supplies.
It's an opening in the ground.
Was it there a minute ago?
Yes, I don't know. I don't think so. Look, the rockets. Look what's coming out of that hole. It's a giant beetle.
It's a robot tank.
Whatever it is, it's a monster. And it's coming toward us.
Get back to the ship, Hap. Hurry.
Hey, Commander, the robot's right behind us.
Be sure to join us next week for the thrilling story, The Watchman of Wormbuck. Space Patrol, created by Mike Moser, starring Ed Kemmer as Commander Corey and Lynn Osborne as Cadet Happy, was written by Lou Houston, produced and directed by Larry Robertson, executive producer Helen Moser. Other players were Norman Jolly, Ken Mayer, Bela Kovac, and Tony Sides. Dick Tufeld speaking. This week's Space Patrol was brought to you by Nestle's Eveready, the instant cocoa. Nestle's Quick for great chocolate milk, and famous Nestle's chocolate bars. This program is broadcast for our armed forces overseas through the worldwide facilities of the Armed Forces Radio Service. Space Patrol came to you transcribed from Hollywood. This is ABC Radio Network.